Well, hello there, everybody. Drinker here, and it's a cold and wet Sunday evening in January. So, what better way to what better way to while away the evening than to spend some time with my friend MauLer and catch up on some Superchats?
Yes.
Yeah, because I've made this policy right where I'm never going to let the Superchats go beyond a catch-up stream. Like, I'm not going to get to that point where I have to try and keep track of them over a period of weeks, because I will lose my mind and completely lose track of all these chats. So I'm just like, no, I need to stay on top of this.
It's true. You do eventually lose your mind.
Yeah, as you can testify. You're bringing down the EFAT pile a little bit now, though, aren't you?
Yeah, we chip away at it all the time. I think if we did a couple offline ones, we'd probably be able to get it, which we're considering now, because the pile is, it's a big boy. But yeah, we're getting there. We're going to get there.
Nice. Yeah, you got an EFAP thing just came out tonight, didn't you? About 8 o'clock.
We did. Boba Fett. Good old Boba Fett.
Yeah.
It's fun. Me and Fringy will be working on those. We chug away to get them out relatively quickly. But my fucking god, that show is bad.
Oh fun, yeah. Though. We had a great time discussing it the other night, and yeah, everyone who's watching this, once you've finished watching this catch-up stream, which is equally entertaining, go and watch go to MauLer and watch their reaction to Boba Fett, because
and the gun train.
Yeah. Want to see an out-of-shape 60-year-old man with veneers beating up people half his age? Well, this is the show for you.
It was funny that when they get the speeders, you're like, why would that even make a difference? The gun train it's a big train, it has guns. Why? It's like, well, watch and see.
Yeah, not a whole lot makes sense in that show, but hey, we got to see him do his little dance thing on the speeder. It
was adorable, yeah.
And it's a great show chronicling one man's search for a personality. Maybe by the end of the season you'll have one. Who knows?
He's a hero, I'll have you know. Boba Fett, he was trying to rescue everybody at the Bodge, okay? Some people were like, whoa, he's trying to kill Luke. So he wasn't trying to kill Luke. He was trying to help him. He was trying to help everybody there, actually. He was a really good guy. He wasn't even trying to hit Han Solo. He was trying to save him. He had cancer, and he put him in carbonite to prevent the cancer from getting him.
Yeah, and then Han Solo fucking turns around, smacks his jetpack, and off he goes.
And what does he do in response? He doesn't even get angry. And that's a hero right there. That's a hero.
It really is. Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear jetpacks. And
I think he does have a little cape, doesn't he?
It's kind of it's like a weird one, isn't it? Like, does it go over one shoulder or something?
I think so. I can't remember.
It's got kind of a weird uniform. Let me have a look at this here. The problem is now, right? When I look up Boba Fett on Google Images, it's going to be this fucking weird imitator that we have nowadays. Yep, there he is. I can see one there. It is literally just over one shoulder. I mean, it serves no purpose whatsoever, but just
I have no idea what that's called, but it's there. Shad would know what it's called.
Yeah, it was actually part of medieval fashion just to wear a cloak over one shoulder. There's some weird technical name for it. I learned a medieval term today. Actually, it's called shiltrons.
Ooh.
Because I was doing a little bit of research on Braveheart, because I was toying with the idea of doing a review of it, and during the first big battle, when all those English cavalry are riding towards them, and they just pick up a bunch of spears and point them at them, and then they'll just kind of ride into it and get annihilated. That's called a shiltron. But they would all be facing they'd be in circles, and they'd all be facing in every direction, so you couldn't get behind them or anything. So there you go. I've learned a thing today. That was my achievement for this weekend. I learned a word.
Wow, I'm proud of you.
Pleased with that. Yeah. There we go. Anyway, we've got super chats to get through, and I'm going to see how many I can get through this evening, and hopefully nail them all. The last one we did the other night was the one about Aquafina. Reminded me of Napoleon Dynamite. Lovely. The next one was Haikavoira says, some elves even flaunted Afro-style hair. This was in The Witcher. Why bother with just give them somewhat similar lifestyles? This type of diversity is really off-putting. Yeah. There's so much about Witcher that's weird. I said before, the reason the humans are apparently so diverse is that they all kind of got dumped onto this planet. But the show takes pains to point out that the elves are native to this world. So they didn't all get dumped there from different parts of the world. They were just there anyway. And yet they are equally as diverse as the humans. Why? Don't know. That's just the mind of Lauren, whatever the fuck her name is, who runs the show. Yeah. Anyway, Stephen Bobo said, do Henry Cavill still play World of Warcraft? He would play Final Fantasy 14 or something like that. I don't know what he plays at the moment. I know that he almost missed the call for, like, you know, when he got confirmed as Superman, because apparently he was doing a raid at the time. Wait a minute, I'm going to look him up. What online games does Henry Cavill play? And I'll get to the bottom of this one.
Oh yeah, I do love the idea that he's still playing his video games in between these huge roles.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I just love the fact that he's a massive nerd. Right, so apparently he likes to play Overwatch, also classics like Half-Life, Delta Force, The Witcher, obviously, World of Warcraft, and others. Yeah, so he does play World of Warcraft. There you go. Yeah, I would expect him to be a fan of The Witcher as well. Jim Eagle said, have you read Kane by Karl Edward Wagner? No, I haven't, because I'm a literary moron. Sorry, mate. Scully said, hey guys, I'm curious on your thoughts of how how far these companies have to destroy these IPs for the fans to say that's enough, because I'm pretty much there with Star Wars, but I'm seeing a lot of undeserved fanfare for them. Which is a reasonable question. How far does it have to go, I guess, before...
do they know that they're doing things wrong? You know, like, take Loki, for example. I'm pretty sure Marvel only see that as a complete success. So,
yeah.
You know, we are like, God, that was a fucking disaster. You've done so much damage. I even imagine I could say that to Kevin Feige, and he'd be like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, right, yeah, nobody tells you. Right, yeah. So that's one of the problems, is that they don't even know. Like, they don't even know what they think is a... But I'm sure they saw Black Widow as a failure, at least financially, right? So
that's the point. You kind of have to acknowledge it, isn't it? If a movie flops financially, then it's like, you know, you'd think, being a company that's interested in making money, like anytime a movie that would normally be expected to do great flops, they would have a bit of a... I don't know, like a debriefing on it, and be like, right, we need to understand what went wrong here, so we don't keep doing this.
They knew Dark Fate was shit. They knew that was a big failure, but do they know it's a failure because of how much it shat on the Terminator franchise, or are they just like, I didn't make enough money, boo?
Yeah, it's weird. You just imagine them sitting in boardrooms like, nope, can't figure it out. Don't know why that movie didn't succeed.
Could it be?
I thought people would love seeing John Connor get murdered in the first 5 minutes. It doesn't make any sense.
Wasn't it Tim Miller said that he had his finger on the pulse of nerddom, and then he was like, I didn't.
Yeah, he did. I don't know what he actually said, but I know he did, like, at least come out and admit that he'd fucked up in the aftermath, which is fair enough.
You never get that, so it's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but I imagine, like, these shows, whether it's like the Marvel Disney Plus shows, or, you know, the Star Wars ones, they probably all do well enough financially just from casual viewers that it's enough to convince them that they're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. And, you know, something like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which we, you know, have torn apart for being shit. Yeah. They probably see, like, all the praise that it gets from, like, you know, just your usual media outlets, who don't care about the quality, they just care about the message, and so they think, well, great, it's making money and the critics love it, so of course we're going to make more of this.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, isn't it? Yep, there you go, someone summed it up best. Fuck Dark Fate.
Yes. Oh god, that movie.
There's actually a line from Dani in the future where she's like super badass supreme leader of the human race, where she goes, well, fuck fate. And I guess it's meant to be like really badass and tough.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
But, you know, like, we pretty much covered that in T2, where there's no fate but what we make for ourselves, which
Dark Fate did it better.
Yeah.
Dark Fate and the Predator, man. 2 peas in a pod.
Yeah. God. Just as an aside there, talking about Boba Fett, a lizard up the nose has got to hurt. You'd think it would.
You'd think it would, yeah.
Because that thing is big. And, you know, if it's going to get into your brain, it's going to have to, like, smash its way through your sinus cavity. That's going to do some serious damage right there.
Hallucination.
But nah, he's fine. I love how he apologizes because he thinks he swallowed it. Because, you know, that's what happens sometimes. Like, I get my mouth confused with my nose all the time.
Well, yeah, and he wasn't hostile at all. He was just like, oh no, the lizard you put on my face. Oh no, he's just like, what the fuck? Move back, Boba Fett.
Who is this fucking clown? Aleph Project said, look up Jack Poso's theory, post-millennial human events. All of millennials' woke psychology goes back to the show Glee. What the fuck? I hope that's true.
I never watched that.
All of our societal ills are because of Glee. Yeah,
Sounds about right, yeah.
Wasn't really my thing back in the day, so I don't know much about it. I just know there was lots of singing and dancing, I think.
Yep.
Guy Thomas said, well, that was one of the well-done things Game of Thrones did in the opening credits in a clever and stylish way with the map. Exactly, yeah. It showed you where things were. Showing the locations most of us don't know of. The Witcher has failed at that. Yeah, that was one of my complaints about this show is, like, I've got no idea of the geography of the world of The Witcher. It's just a bunch of stuff jumbled together. You know, when characters talk about traveling from one city to another, I'm like, I don't know, is that far? Like, is that a day's ride, or is that going to take you months? I don't fucking know because I don't know where anything is.
To be fair, that's how Game of Thrones ended up in the latest.
It really did,
yeah.
Like, that was just sheer laziness. But by that point, it was noticeable because everyone had a good sense of the geography by that point. There's one thing I didn't notice until quite late on is that, you know, in the opening map sort of credits bit, it obviously varies between episodes, and whichever ones that it happens to zoom in on most is where that episode's going to be centered around, which is cool. Just another nice little touch. I liked it. Mr. Taco Bouti says, read Coddling of the American Mind. It sums it up well. I guess we're talking about how people are assholes nowadays. I'm going to look this one up, actually. Is this where you've got helicopter parents telling their children that they're amazing about everything? Yeah. So the coddling of the American mind, how good intentions and bad ideas are setting up a generation for failure. They argue that overprotection has a negative effect on university students, and that the use of trigger warnings in safe spaces does more harm than good. Yeah. Damn, man. Like, yeah, I guess I'm old enough to remember when a university was like a place where you went to be challenged. It was a place to, like, expand your view of the world.
Yeah, man,
and
chaos, but like in a good way.
Yeah, well, it's just, you know, the point of your lecturer was they were gonna challenge your preconceptions and make you see things in a different way. And, like, if you wanted to argue your point, fine, but you needed to be really fucking good at it and justify your opinions. And if you couldn't, then you were in for a bit of a humiliation. And that was the great thing about it. And it was designed to kind of prepare you for the world, you know, this big diverse world where people have lots of different opinions from yours, and just because you think something doesn't mean it's right. Now, Christ, like, it's like some kind of daycare center for adults. That's what it seems like, where it's just like you're protected, you don't ever have to, like, move outside your comfort bubble. What the fuck is the point in even going there? I don't get it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like a different era we're in now. University used to be fucking cool.
Yeah. Next one. The Biv says, and yet this still isn't nearly as bad as how they destroyed Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time destroys canon worse than Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, anything. Man, people are fucking hating Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
The
only person I know fucking watching this and complaining about it is Chad. Everyone else in our sphere is sort of either not read the books or just isn't interested in the show.
Yeah. It seems like the kind of show Chad would be into it, to be fair to him, but I imagine he's not loving it. But yeah, let's get another one. Gerald Armstrong said that Marvel should bring Japanese Spider-Man to the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
I want
Very
Spider-Man
funny.
Noir, to be honest. Yeah.
Movie Bob Spider-Man.
Yeah, please do it. Pogue said, Drinker, thanks for the Arcane suggestion. Best show I've seen in years on many levels. Excellent. It pleases me when people take a recommendation and enjoy it.
I'm gonna watch it.
Come on, MauLer. On that point, actually, the guy who was asking me about The Guard, who wanted me to watch that, so I finally got around to watching it. So that was pretty funny. I love how Brendan Gleeson is just a alcoholic, racist asshole throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, it's a very specific role. I'm glad he had fun with it, but it's a strange film, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked. There's a bit where Mark Strong's like paying off the police to overlook his smuggling operation, and like he hands over a bunch of cash as bribes to them, and like one of them's like, "Is it all there?" And he's like, "No, I skimmed like a couple of grand off the top. Of course, it's all fucking there. What would be the point in me taking money that I'm supposed to be paying to you as a bribe? That would undermine the whole dynamics of this situation." And then he just walks off, total shaking his head, like fucking idiots.
Strong was fun in that movie. Isn't it like he just wants to be in a gunfight? Like that's like a thing for him.
Pretty much, yeah, because he won't do manual labor or anything, but like he's kind of disenchanted with what they do, and he wants like some excitement or whatever. So, God, I like Mark Strong in pretty much anything. To be fair, he's a good actor. He's really fun. What's the next one? Mike Waterfield, Spider-Man. In Spider-Man, greatness is thrust upon him. Luke, on the other hand, rose to greatness. Yeah, fair dues. I think greatness wasn't thrust upon Luke, but expectations were, because he was forced to like live up to his family name and kind of thrown into a situation that he absolutely wasn't prepared for. But it's in the midst of that, like he did ultimately rise to the occasion, I suppose.
Yeah.
Scratchpad said, a hero gets the spotlight for being great. A villain sees the spotlight and demands it, thinking it would make them great. Yeah, much like Yennefer from The Witcher, which is obviously what we were talking about at the time. Bad F said, Spider-Man No Way Home must fix everyone. Villains, happy the way we are, thank you. Spidey, I fix you anyway. Summary of the leftist worldview. Well, possibly, yeah. I think if it was going by that, Spider-Man would just look down on them and just keep telling them that he's better than them.
Yeah, I was going to say, Doc Ock ends up very, very pleased that Spider-Man helped him, isn't he? So he's and to be fair,
I think Goblin probably as well would probably be quite happy that he was rid of that.
So one of them's got voices in their head, and the other one is like constantly having to deal with the things his alter ego has done.
Yeah, I think Sandman. It's hard to tell really where he's at with that. I think he's probably glad to be rid of the curse of being a Sandman. Electro, I think he probably didn't want his powers taken away, to be fair, but I don't know. Like, it was about him learning that he had a bit of self-worth even without his powers.
Yeah.
And then the only other one is the Lizard Man, which it was a bit iffy in terms of development. You didn't get much from him. Mike Waterfield said, the Drinker, the only critic I trust anymore. Well, you shouldn't trust me because I'm deeply untrustworthy. And also, this guy.
I'm right here, goddammit.
F Grade Art said, I'm not an artsard, but I have a hard time following The Witcher than Game of Thrones or Dark. When it comes to diverse plank-faced NPCs and Z-plot Keebler elves, there's a wall of utter disinterest that I just can't hack. Yeah, I don't blame you, man. It's a shame you haven't seen it more, because since you're obviously quite invested in Game of Thrones back in the day, it would be interesting to get your take on this. And how it compares, because there's definitely something missing compared to how Game of Thrones, like in the early seasons, how it kind of grabbed you very quickly, and you got very invested in what was going on, and you you came to know the characters very quickly. It was just very efficient at setting all that stuff up, and Witcher doesn't have that at all. And I'm trying to figure out why. Like, I've tried to nail it down in my reviews, but I feel like there's, you'd have to break it down almost like episode by episode to see where it's going wrong.
Yeah, because I was going to say, Game of Thrones can be tough to follow at first, but people usually have a character that they're very invested in. I think Tyrion was a big reason why things were working really well early on. He's keeps saying, he has really great quotes. He keeps impressing you with his intelligence, and like hitting Joffrey or helping Jon with his insecurities and stuff. It's just like you immediately, and then he gets put in prison by Catelyn, and you just like, his story is enough to keep you going, I think. But then you've got everyone else, and I think Sean Bean's Ned Stark is incredibly helpful because he's just a very good man trying to survive in this horrible world, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't seen Witcher, so I don't know if like how good those characters are, but I'm assuming they're not helping enough.
Yeah. Geralt is your way into the world of The Witcher, I guess. Because he is, your main protagonist. He's not like Tyrion, though, in the sense that he's very like closed off. He doesn't say much. He's just like your kind of brooding anti-hero, who's like a mercenary almost. And so, yeah, you don't really get much from him. With Yennefer, she's kind of a shitty person in a lot of ways. Like we discussed the other night, like she's quite power hungry. She's quite entitled, very flawed. And then like Ciri in season 1 is kind of a non-entity. She's just like, a girl on the run, and you don't get much from her. Season 2, she kind of comes into her own a little bit more. And she's a bit more reluctant. She doesn't really want the powers that she's been given, but like as Gary would have said, she's kind of the girl who's the key to everything, so she can't really run away from any of that stuff. So between the three of them, I don't know, there's not as much to grapple with, and then there's just this huge mass of background characters that don't get a huge amount of screen time, but you're never entirely clear what their role is and who they're loyal to or really what they're trying to achieve. I think that was the problem as well. At Game of Thrones, you kind of understood the different factions fairly quickly, whereas with The Witcher, you just never quite get a sense of what the political landscape of this world is. It's a weird one. Like I say, it's a hard one to tune into, I think.
Yeah.
That's not the one I was looking for. R.I.P. Roach. Yeah. I'll drink a toast to you, Roach. That was like the most emotional scene in the whole season was a fucking horse dying. That was that was it. What's the next one? Paint Chips says, love Cavill but found The Witcher to be dreck. And honestly, why are we talking about Witcher? A Spider-Man movie just came out.
It's true.
Indeed. Why do we do anything when Spider-Man's here?
Mm-hmm.
Cannon Folderall, well, thanks for putting me off The Witcher. Guess I'll give Arcane a go. Cheers. I would recommend Arcane over Witcher any day. Guy Thomas says, Boba Fett beaten up by a Sand People child. I give up.
Well, yeah, they have a bunch of kids hitting him with sticks. And he's like, stab. And just like, why are we... it's fine.
Do you ever get the sense that, like, the Tusken Raiders really weren't the kind of, like, species that you were meant to spend a lot of time with?
Well, so it's funny. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's Twitter accounts that are like, you see, we used to think of the Tusken Raiders as monsters, but now Favreau and team have humanized them. We've understood them as a people and a culture. And I'm like, they literally kidnapped him and forced him into slavery, and he broke out because he was useful to them. Like, this is not good. They're still assholes.
I've seen the response to that, and it's like a picture of Shmi Skywalker like dying in Anakin's arms. Like she would like to talk to you about the beautiful culture of the Tusken Raiders.
It's insane. Like, because we've seen them farming for like those little balls of things, and we've seen them like making their sticks. It's like, oh, we love them now. Like, no, we don't. They're awful.
Yeah, you're just trying to retcon them because, like, well, the sort of the parallels with like Native Americans and all that stuff is like as obvious as you can possibly be. They've even got trains in it that kill them from a distance. You know, it's like, fuck, man. But yeah, like just because you're trying to like retcon them now doesn't change what they've done in the past. And it's the fact that like, you know, they never take their stupid masks off. Like even when they're in their camp on their own, like surely there would be a time when they would absolutely need to do that. Like fucking Boba Fett can't stop taking his mask off. He loves it.
He can't resist. You start to wonder, like, is their mask, is that their skin? Like,
yeah. Are they born with like these goggle things, you know?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, I get that it's like, you know, they have to wear that to protect them from the desert because it's a harsh environment. But like, there's going to be times when they're protected in their tents or whatever. They're going to take them off. But nah, like they just didn't think this one through. It's like we've got to maintain the mystery of what they look like, but also show them in intimate detail in their society. Fuck this show. Ivan Petrascu says, enjoying the show while inspecting a Wyoming slaughterhouse. Okay. Your warm voices are a blessing in this minus 21 degrees Celsius room. I hope you're like punching the beef as well as you go by like Rocky. If you pass up that opportunity, there's something wrong with you. Bartholomew Mucha says, will you consider to watch the Witcher 2002 TV Polish serial? It's always described as cringe, but I'm really curious what your opinion would be about it. Man, it's hard enough to get through like our version of The Witcher, never mind one in a different language that may be cringy as well. Yeah, I don't know about that, man.
I will be right back. Should be like 5 minutes, maybe 10. Sorry, it's just some stuff I got to sort out quickly, but I will be back.
All right, no worries, man. I want to see everything sent the Book of Biden Fett. Yeah, because he's old as fuck. Yeah, that's where we're at with this. They probably should have just cast a different actor because the age of Tamura Morrison does not match up with the age of Boba Fett, who's meant to be like 40 years old in this. Like, no fucking way, man. Zenik said, to be fair, League's arcane characters' haircuts were established far before they became the norm for woke warriors. Well, that's something at least. It used to be good characters designed for colorful and quirky rebel chicks, but now it's a flag for the woke. Yeah, that's the problem. That fucking haircut, man, has just been tainted. Yeah, it's a pretty much a red flag, like you say. It's like whoever's got a haircut like this, they're going to be an activist of some kind. Let me see. Yeah. What's your opinion on the discourse on Twitter over Paul Dano's Riddler costume? I don't know what the discourse is like, but man, it's a far cry from Jim Carrey's Riddler look. That's for fucking sure. I honestly can't decide which version I would prefer. Like this, like really, like flamboyant, over the top version that you got with Jim Carrey, or this weird, like subdued sack that Paul Dano's wearing. I don't know, man. I feel like Riddler is so over the top as a character. He should be like flamboyant. I want to see him in like a purple suit with a waistcoat and everything. Yeah. MauLer's being attacked by Tuskens. It's all right. He's going to handle them with his logic. Well, now here we go. In the Polish version of The Witcher, there's so many boobs. That's one thing we've desperately lacked in season 2 of The Witcher. There's been hardly any boobs, man. And it's almost like they hooked us in with the boobs in season 1, and then they just like cut us loose. And now we're supposed to just enjoy the diversity instead. It's a shame. Wormy Spoons said, Drinker, that Boba Fett guy is Jake the Muss. Once we're warriors, he was terrifying. Cook the egg woman, those were the days. I'm a tangerine, by the way. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's been great in other stuff. It's just he's a bit too old for playing Boba Fett now. Lord Carvanite says, Star Wars Theory was saying that they were contradicting ourselves, saying Rey was a Mary Sue, but want Boba to be a merciless badass. I agree with that until I realized that Boba Fett has been developed since the 1980s. Yeah, the difference is I would like him to be a merciless badass, but he can still make mistakes. He can still have flaws. He can still make misjudgments, but that requires the writers to be smart and to have the antagonist be smarter than him even. There's plenty of ways where a character can still be, ruthless and kick-ass and able to handle themselves, but get bested by someone who's even more switched on than they are, or who's playing the longer game. But again, that requires intelligent writing. So next one, just give me 1 second here. It froze for a second there. Yeah, David Richter gave me $20. Thanks, mates. Appreciate that. Tangerine said, Boba Fett needs to be more Netflix Punisher. Season 1 Arrow. Disney ruins everything. Make Boba badass again. Please, yes. Something like that would be just fine. Like, it would be controlled. It'd be much more controlled than the Punisher ever was, because the Punisher's all about rage. But yeah, I get your point. Robert White said, imagine instead of bowling their... Sorry, I'm having to go on how this is written. Instead of blowing their load in the first 5 minutes, they saved the Sarlacc pit escape to line up with a near end of season low point. Yeah, wouldn't that be interesting? And wouldn't it be interesting if he escaped the Sarlacc pit by more than just like using his flamer for a few seconds, and there he was out? Like, damn, that was pretty easy. It kind of makes you wonder why nobody else has ever escaped, because there was a stormtrooper in there who he uses like the air supply from. That guy would have had a blaster, surely. Couldn't he have blasted his way out? Don't know, man. Yeah, next one. A. Ray says, the canon version of Boba Fett is Anton Chigurh in space. The writers completely misunderstood the true malevolence and terror of the character. Yeah, sounds about right. They nerfed him, really. They nerfed him to make him more pliable for whatever the crap they were trying to do with him. And of course, he's got your generic strong female character there to show him the correct way. I swear, man, there will never be a Disney Plus series now where you've got a male character on his own. He is always going to have a female sidekick. XSL said, Drinker, make a community for your YouTube channel. Man, I know there's you can do channel memberships and stuff. I've just been reluctant to do it because like it's another thing you have to monitor and keep an eye on. And like I've already got, I've got Patreon, I've got Subscribestar. All of those things take up quite a bit by themselves. So I don't want to get spread too thin and then not give things the attention they deserve. Here's a question. What's your opinion on the new Kingsman movie? I haven't seen it yet, but I want to because I like the Kingsman films. The first one was great. Second one is a bit iffy, but I like the premise of this one. Like it's set back during World War I. I like the look of it, and I'm keen to give it a go. So yeah, I'll definitely do a review on it. Mark my words. Zagreus NA said, sex outside of marriage is immoral. Sorry. Boba Fett. No, really, look it up. It's sad to see this given how Fett was portrayed in the expanded universe. Also, Hyrax. I don't know about Fett in the expanded universe, if I'm honest, so I don't know how they developed him there. All I know is from the movies. Aleph Project says the only character Dev needed was Django's death in episode 2. There you go. He's on a revenge trip. Big Dave K, next time you'll tell me they'll make Anton Chigurh a misunderstood person. Who knows? Dave Grimes, Boba, when he got out of the pit, would he not be hell-bent on getting revenge on Han for putting him in the pit? You'd think so. He would get out and he'd be like, right, where's that Solo prick? I'm going to take revenge on this asshole. And Luke Skywalker as well, preferably. Has it all been sorted out?
Oh, yeah. And you're just talking about how Boba Fett just like doesn't care about anything that happened prior to the Sarlacc pit, it seems. He's got like a whole new life.
Yeah. He's just he's happy to just start a new life for himself. Always forgiven.
I genuinely think the writers didn't even think that they had to justify that. When he kills the big monstery thing and then just comes back to the Tuskens and chills out with them, it's like, no, he would leave. He would go.
Yeah.
He would.
The moment he gets his hands on a speeder, especially, he'd be out of there. There's absolutely no reason for him to stay.
At first, I was like, he kills the beasts, he can knock out the kid and the dog, so he can, and he says he knows where he's going. It's like, so he should be gone. But when he gets the speeder, I was like, oh, okay, this is just stupid. Like, what? He's that. You see, what we didn't know about Bobo was he's incredibly invested in native Tuscan rights for land. You know, that's one of his big things. I think it was a deleted scene in Return of the Jedi. He was talking to Jabba about it. And
this is the thing, right? You could build up something like that, where he starts to bond with the Tuscan Raiders and maybe is compelled to defend them at some point. But that would take an entire season. Yeah, that's not the sort of thing that can happen in 2 episodes.
We've seen stuff like that before. He'd have to be critically injured by the Sarlacc, and then the Jawas take all his stuff, and the Tuscans find him, and they decide, we'll help you out. And he's like unable to walk for a while or something, and then they have to take care of him. He gets to actually speak to them, maybe learn sign language, and to earn all that. It's like, but you know for a fact they're like, no, we can't be doing all that. We need action scenes. We need explosions. We need droids running around. We need a Wookiee with a big gun. We gotta be doing it.
Yep. Just keep things moving. Keep things moving.
Enough of the fucking flashbacks. I am so fucking bored. Like,
I know. Well, this is the thing. I can't decide what I'm more bored by, the flashbacks or like the bullshit in the present day. Because it's like the flashbacks are boring, but then the present day is just Boba Fett embarrassing himself. And I don't know which is worse.
Because, I mean, with the Hutts finally coming in, I was like, maybe we can finally have something happen now. But then they just fucked off.
I just don't get it, because it's like, here the Hutts are, right in front of them, a perfect target, and they're saying like, we're going to kill you, basically. We're going to take back what's ours, and you're screwed, son. Now, they are not difficult to hit because they're so massive. Like, one blaster bolt to the face, and they're dead. Why not just take them out there and then and show your strength and show how ruthless you are by killing 2 people who clearly are not going to stop until you're dead?
Rags was desperate for him to fucking shoot someone. He was just like, please shoot someone.
Because I almost thought they're going to do that. It's going to be an unexpected, they're setting up this really big menacing antagonist, like a double threat to him. And it's going to be like Han with Greedo, where he just fucking shoots them and that's it, taken care of. That would have been a real Boba Fett thing to do.
Yeah, and then you can have it be that killing those 2 Hutts has pissed off a Grand Hutt of some kind.
Yeah, there could be anything, but it just would demonstrate a bit of ruthlessness on his part, and just like, yeah, this guy shoots first and solves the problem that could have dragged on for a whole season. But no, he just stands there like a moron and just lets them go. Yeah, okay, great. It's just like, it's what the plot needs to happen, I suppose.
And I have no idea what episode 3 is going to do. I don't know if we're going to get majority flashback fucking again.
Don't know. Don't particularly care. The only reason I watched the first 2 episodes was so I could talk about it on our stream. But that could be it for me. Here's a question, actually. What's your opinion on shows' release schedules? Do you want them all at once or once per week?
Probably once per week.
Yeah, okay.
Well, my only reasoning is it's strictly for discussion, right?
It makes our jobs easier if they are... Yeah, like as a reviewer, I'd prefer once per week. As just a viewer, it's great to be able to binge them.
Yeah. No, yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
So the 2 sides to it, I suppose. What's the next one? Doomslayer Dempsey said, Disney turning Fett into the old cartoon version who was friendly. How about we don't? Hail Drinker. Thank you. And how about we don't indeed? Clint H said, it's like Macbeth, a strong woman to guide him. Macfett. Yeah, that'll do. Hopefully, well, if this follows Macbeth, then she will poison him in his sleep. Mizzy Moore said, have you watched the Succession spotlights and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? All brilliant works of TV and movies you should watch if you haven't seen. I've seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Haven't seen Succession, though.
No, I haven't seen that.
Good stuff generally. Dan Campbell said, well, when you have a chance, take a look at the Superheroes Everyday site. The author Dan did a multi-year blog, Dark Shadows Every Day. Now he's focusing on the history of superhero culture. Okay. Yeah, so kind of like talking about how it evolves over time and stuff, I assume could be good then. Outraged Deer says the biggest problem was they got for both his father figures, Jango Fett and Cad Bane, were mercs who raised him to either be a leader of the Mandos. Oh, right, okay. This is again when someone decides to put weird punctuation here. So the biggest problem was that they forgot both his father figure, Jango Fett, and Cad Bane. They were mercs who raised him to either be a leader of the Mandos. So, yeah, basically, he's got no desire to rejoin the Mandalorian culture or anything like that, does he? He's just doing his own thing.
To be fair, I'm still waiting to find out what the fuck he wants. And if someone was like, well, it's to be a crime lord, I'd be like, okay.
That's it. He's kind of reached his he's done what he wanted to do already. He's the crime lord. It's great.
Oh, yeah. Why isn't he bounty hunting still? And it's like, oh, because he wants to be a crime lord. Since when? He wants to be a crime lord.
Yeah, he's old now. You know, as you know, MauLer, when you become old, it completely changes your entire personality and worldview.
Well, Jay got had a back and forth complaining about this show, and someone quote tweeted Jay saying, "A first proper L for Jay, not realizing that entering the Sarlacc, it has psychic abilities and it does change your point of view." It's just like, what the fuck?
What was that? A serious rebuttal?
Yeah, that's apparently in canon that Sarlacc pits do weird stuff to your head. It's like, that just sounds like trying to make this make sense. That's all that sounds like.
I mean, if there was anything in the show that supported that, I might hear it out, but there absolutely is not. He is the same person, theoretically, that went in.
Yeah, fuck that. And the show never mentioned anything about that, so...
Yeah. Here's the thing, actually. Kenobi will 100% have a female character who is better than him in everything. Yep, I guarantee it. Keanu Neo Wick said there's a Legends game called Star Wars Bounty Hunter about his father Jango that far more accurately captures the persona that made Boba so interesting in the OT: ruthless, intelligent, and cunning. So Star Wars Bounty Hunter. There we go. Hentai Surprise says, I'm pretty new to this super chat business, but you know what the best part is? Getting people to say my name. Say it, Drinker. Seriously, thanks for all the quality content, sir. Thank you, man. There's your name, Hentai Surprise. Joseph Snewart says, remember in Arcane when Silco gasses the Chem Barons when they question his leadership and makes them beg for gas masks? That is how you make your mob boss scary, Disney. Yes. Ruthlessness and a little bit of sadism mixed in. Silco was a fantastic character. Loved him. 200 Watt Studio said, totally a dollar store version of Lawrence of Arabia, right down to the train attack. It is not about Boba Fett. They shoehorned Lawrence into a story for Boba. I bet he'll even learn he can't control all the Tusken tribes. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, man. This is the level of writing that we're talking about here. Just mix your present day political commentary in there, and the rest of the story will bend around it. Did I like Battlestar Galactica? Yeah, loved it. I even did a live stream talking about it with Doomcock, I think. Very much enjoyed that show. The ending went a bit weird, but never mind. Silco, true crime lord, not like Boba. Yeah, if Boba was like Silco, this show would be fucking fantastic. Stug said Tusken Raiders were cool in Knights of the Old Republic. I'll take your word for that. Every time I've seen them, they've just been like, throwing their weapons up in the air and like grunting and stuff. So it's hard to get a read on what they're like as a people. Jake Boylan said, feel bad for the Sand People because Anakin killed the men, women, and children like animals. But as it turns out, they are people too. Sounds like a lot like The Last of Us Part 2.
It's just bizarre. This whole thing has been bizarre. By the way, I am bored of Tatooine. Holy shit. Why is everything on Tatooine?
Yeah. Because it's recognizable more. It's got to be in places we know already, so we can imprint onto it.
And they were showing like small clips of Camino. I was like, oh yeah, other like biomes. I forgot about that. Like,
yeah, instead of just generic desert planet.
it's not even it's not even interesting desert. It's always the same because they film it all in the same, probably the same set of just sand.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's not on location because I'm assuming they do everything the cheapest and quickest way possible these days.
Well, yeah, probably. They can reuse it for Obi-Wan as well. Christ,
They probably
that's
have
all
a
it's going to be,
fucking
isn't it?
giant room with like shifting floors to make different heaps of sand so that they can just keep doing that over and over and over again. You remember the amount of things in the Mandalorian show where he would be like, I gotta go back to Tatooine because that's exactly where I need to go. You're like, yeah, of course you do.
Well, I mean, if this, it's very much like a video game, and that being the case, Tatooine is like your hub that you have to keep going back to, like to trade and stuff. That's all it is. F Grade Art says Boba was always a wet noodle. All he did was scream like a bitch and fall into a giant sand anus after a bumbling blind man hit his jetpack. Then the anus belched. EU retcons aside, dude was more impotent than Jar Jar.
That part of him was, but the rest of it wasn't.
Yeah, like this is you get to see a tiny amount of what he's capable of doing. And to be fair, he almost got one over on Luke. He hit him with that thing that wrapped around him, and it was just the lightsaber that managed to get it off.
And if people are like, you never do, it's like one of the things I love about Boba Fett. If you guys go look at it on your copies of Empire, when Luke is heading to try and rescue everybody, and he sees that stormtroopers and Boba Fett are coming, so he hides behind the corner. But I think his gun hits the wall or something. He just makes a little tap sound, and you can see in the background that Boba Fett moves his head because he hears that. But then he pretends he hasn't heard anything. Then Luke comes around the corner, and Boba Fett turns around immediately and shoots him. Like, he misses because Luke gets back into cover, but it's just a really cool moment of Boba Fett knows what's up. He's a fucking smart dude. He's not vacant or whatever. His death was dumb, and the fans didn't like it. So we don't have to use his death as it reminds me of Stormtrooper shit where they're like, oh, why do you care about Stormtroopers missing? They've been missing for ages. Like, it's never been good that they're missing, okay? It's never been a good thing. And Boba Fett closing the distance to shoot a Jedi at point blank range was not a good thing. That was a dumb thing. Doesn't mean we have to keep seeing him do dumb things,
I think his death kind of fit with the tone of like Return of the Jedi, where there was kind of a lot of goofy shit going on.
Definitely a goofy movie compared to Empire, which is much more like dark.
Yeah. There was a comment here that was like people were asking me about I'm asking you to watch and review the 355 so we don't have to. So apparently that's a spy movie. It's a bit like Charlie's Angels, but it's meant to be more serious. And it's become like one of the first flops of the year. I mean, to be fair, any movie that comes out in January is pretty much guaranteed to flop anyway. Guy Thomas said, in my opinion, why I think The Mandalorian worked much better was because it was written like a 30-minute 1940s cinema matinee, like Superman was back in the day, but I'm old. So what are your thoughts? I mean, I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that The Mandalorian worked. Like, I think probably both of us had our issues with it.
I think you've soured on it over time more so, because I
know. I think my take on it was like, well, it's better than the sequel trilogy, I suppose. It was a back to basics approach to storytelling. And when I say back to basics, I mean literally the most basic storytelling you could possibly come up with. And it did certain things okay. Like it opened up again the idea that the world of Star Wars is this giant galaxy that you can explore, and that's kind of fun. It's kind of exciting to think there's a lot of different worlds you can visit. It didn't really like make good on that promise, but at least it opened up the possibility of it. So yeah, like it played it safe, and it just did simple stuff relatively well for what it was trying to do, and I guess that's why it worked to this extent. But with Boba Fett, Fuck, man. Yeah, it's so simple, and it's such a changing character that like it's hard to ignore.
Yeah, because Mando was like almost a blank slate, so we could just have him do anything. And then they still turned him into a hero, man. But Boba Fett, like, there's a character there, and so this is more frustrating, I think, for everybody to watch him. You know, like when the gun train arrives, that he's like, "Oh no, everyone, get to cover quickly, my fellow sad people. Let us get to." It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, please don't get harmed, my captors. I want you to be safe. And yeah, like even just simple things like the fact that Mando, for the most part, kept his helmet on in season one. Like it's just gave him an air of mystery, and that's a good thing for a character like that. But then Boba Fett, like he can't stop taking that thing off.
Nope.
And again, it's just another problem with his character. D. Lewis gave me $5, so thank you. Nuclear Winter Gamer said it's almost like Boba became retarded the moment he fell into the Sarlacc pit. As for Boba, he just got out of the pool. Yeah, more or less. It turned him into a different character. Bamagrad said, "Happy New Year to you all. I've read on the web Marvel has announced it has begun to campaign for multiple Oscars for the Eternals, including the cast members. Any comments?"
Good luck.
Fucking yeah. Why not? It'll probably win everything. That's how meaningless the Oscars are now. Sorry, were you going to say something more?
No, just good luck. That's all I had to say.
Good luck, yeah. Darth Bobcat, wouldn't it be more interesting to keep Bib Fortuna alive, to run the daily operations and scheme against Boba for being an interloper? Also, would the Hutt leave Tatooine alone like that? Yeah, all good questions.
I don't believe they would. And the second they turned up, like, oh, this guy who's, Boba, you shouldn't be Boba. It's like, where the fuck were you guys for Bib Fortuna? Remember, Bib Fortuna is described as a usurper. Like, how was he able to rule for so long? Where the fuck were you guys?
I like this. Eternals was the most miserable experience of my life. Fucking hell, that movie was bad. What else have we got here? Bear with me 1 second. I feel like my internet timed out there for a second. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. Yeah, Forgotten Frost said Boba the Lesser Clone, who was hinted to be trained by Jango. Glib Facsimile said Star Wars doesn't need to get away or go on hiatus. It needs to end. Sequel and cinematic universes have ruined cinema. People can't let stories end. Well, they can't as long as there's money to be milked out of it, I suppose. That's all it comes down to now.
You know, if you said, all right, Edgar Wright, Tarantino, and fucking even Michael Bay, you all get a Star Wars movie. I feel like somebody at some point will make one that we're like, you know what, that was fucking great. That was great. I guess, I don't know. We'll have to wait.
It's just, yeah, you look at the OT and like that. I mean, I'm under no illusions. Clearly, it was done to make money, but like it was also done because I guess George Lucas had a story he really wanted to tell. Similar with the Indiana Jones movies, like he was entranced by those adventure serials of the 50s when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And wanted to bring some of that into modern day cinema. So he did it out of an enjoyment for the art. What's the reason for doing like a fifth Indiana Jones film? It's just to milk more money out of the franchise, set up a new Indiana Jones that we can have an expanded universe of multiple sequels with. That's all it is. And that's just sad, How many movies are made now, like sort of anything approaching a big budget movie? How many of them are done just because they had an interesting story they wanted to tell and decided to make a movie out of it? It's nothing, man.
Yeah, we're definitely on the era for that.
Keanu Neowick said, good writing and totally worth checking out a few cutscenes to show how drastically better Django is. He's badass, but certainly not a hero. Yeah, I mean, if it's better than this, it's got to be something. Random Eskimo said, your ancestors came in and stole this land from mine. They killed and stole without care. However, since they're dead and we're not, let's watch DS9 and Firefly. Fair enough. Glib facsimile. Why put Tamura in the costume at all? Just have him do a voice. Anyone could be Boba underneath the mask. How stupid are the creative accountants at Disney? Yeah, there's, pretty good point, really. If you were smart and had him just not take the mask off, he could just do the voice.
I think they were kind of banking on his face being really great for like getting people in, because
is he really that big of a draw? Like,
maybe
it's
to
not like
Star Wars fans, I don't know, because they recognize him as the clone guy. I don't know. It's a bit of a strange one because, I mean, as you've noticed, as everyone's noticed, they really want to try and get his helmet off. So I can only imagine that's because they're like, well, we got to make use of Tamura Morrison's face, and we're just sort of like, you do?
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. I mean, I said as well, like, God bless him. He's, he tries, but it's not like he's a really, a really super charismatic actor, like a guy that you're really interested to see. Like he's working with pretty crappy material, and you're just like, yeah, he just looks kind of bored most of the time.
I like him, but the idea that he's going to carry the show himself, it's like, I don't think so.
Yeah. Carbon Knight 227 said, currently Star Wars is pretty much just Tatooine, and Tatooine-like planets must save a ton of production costs. Yeah, like you were saying just there. The Smooth Fox, Boba Fett is too focused on a minuscule flashback instead of the more interesting present. I'd also love for Drinker to tear apart Hawkeye. I've got to be honest with you guys, I don't even know if I'm going to watch Hawkeye. I just don't want to do it to myself.
I got it ready to watch, and I just can't bring myself to do it.
It's like, and this is coming from a guy who drinks toilet duck. It's just so bad for me that I just don't even want to go near it.
Like it's like crying wolf, as weird as that sounds, right? So like they go, WandaVision, there you go, it's gonna be fun, check it out. And I was like, well, that pissed me off. What else you got? Falcon the Winter Soldier. Like, okay, I like those characters. Like, thanks a lot. What else you got? Loki. You're like, and then to top it off, you get like a Black Widow, and you're like, all right. And then they go Hawkeye, and you're like, no, actually,
yeah.
I fucking trust you anymore.
How many more of these characters that I used to like are you going to destroy? And it's like, I never even liked Hawkeye that much to begin with. Like, the only movie he was quite cool in was The Avengers. And beyond that, like, they either made him a joke or they didn't really know what the fuck they were supposed to do with him.
Yeah.
So the idea that he was going to like hold up a show anyway was just a joke anyway. Fuck, man. Yeah, there's nothing to recommend that. The DCV Titans said, Misa giving handsies for creds. That'll be fair enough. The generic edgelord said, Boba Fett sounds real sad, so I recommend an older story in the comics called Boba Fett Twin Engines of Destructions. Quite short, pretty neat. All right, I'll take your word for that. Rob Bass says, thoughts on the CW network going on sale? It's hilarious to me. They went woke, they went broke, and they're shocked that they did. Laughing my ass off. Yeah, who's going to buy the CW? Like, realistically, how fucking dumb would you have to be to buy that network?
I just love the idea they haven't made a profit for like a decade. It's just so bad.
What did they think was going to happen? Like, producing shows as they do, like, who was going to watch them, and how did they think they were going to make money?
I guess they were just waiting. They were trying to bank on the superhero hype, I think, but they couldn't. We're still, like, superheroes are everywhere still, and they still can't bank on it.
Yeah. And it's not like they're dealing with, the worst characters ever. Like, they've got some decent ones to work with. And even then, they can't make use of them. It's like, you've got no budget. You're using like the worst writers on the planet, and a bunch of actors who probably have got nothing better to do. Like, what did you expect to happen? So yeah, I don't know who's going to buy it or why they would ever consider buying it. Like, there's nothing there that's going to help you from an advertising point of view. Flubber11 USA says Geeko released a Portal 2 themed commercial. Okay, Geico, sorry. Blade Runner Elmer Fudd said, "Shh, be very, very quiet. I'm hunting Replicants, I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire on the shoulders of Orion. All these moments will be lost in time like tweers in the rain. Time to... Yep. Fair man. Nice little speech. CJ Broskin, take a Cassian Gandor at this. Yep. This is where we're talking about all the 500 spin-offs they've got coming. Corey Coleman, Babel Frick, a Star Wars story.
I'll watch it.
Yeah. Nozaku Boy says, MauLer has a really good point. Mandalorians are cultural supremacists. That's not a joke. They are. Well, I suppose they are, really.
I don't know specifically what that's in regards to, but like I'm assuming it's the fact that Boba Fett wouldn't give a fuck about Tusken Raiders.
Yep. Lines on paper, give me $5. Thanks. Appreciate it, man. John said he's staying with the Tusken Raiders to keep up a good supply of gaffer sticks to use as toothpicks.
Well, there was a theory of like he's going to take advantage of them. He's going to use them for war or something. It's like, yeah, maybe they could work it so that he's taking advantage of them, but I don't think they are.
The way they show him, he seems to be genuinely just concerned for their welfare.
Yeah, I don't believe that this is all an act.
If it is, I will give them credit for that. That's a Boba Fett move right there.
I feel like we're much more likely heading to they're all going to get killed by someone or something at some point, and it'll drive him to be like, fuck the world, I gotta make it better, or some shit. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Danny Numero 6 said, "Evening, gents. What are all your guys' thoughts on Akira Kurosawa movies?"
I haven't seen them in so long that I've not got much to say on them, but he's your revered director. He's made a lot of classics. I'm afraid I don't have much to say on it.
So Kurosawa did Seven Samurai, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably one of the only ones I've seen of his, but I mean, for what that was worth, that was great. So yeah, I need to get a better knowledge of his filmography.
Mm-hmm.
NC said, the one and only Star Wars film I've enjoyed from Disney and Lucas is Rogue One. So what elements were different in the creation of this movie versus the others? I mean, it's a stretch for me to say I enjoyed it because there was a lot of things that were annoying as fuck about it, but it was just a standalone story for the most part. It didn't try to weave some epic tale. And it wasn't about lightsabers and the Force and chosen ones and anything like that. It was just a group of people, grunts, basically, fighting on the front lines, trying to do something halfway good with their lives before it was over.
I suppose the action scenes were free to have a bit more weight because they could actually be killed. Most Star Wars stuff right now, everybody just shoots loads of blasters and misses every single one. It's just like, K2SO, I actually think is worth highlighting. Like, a lot of his lines delivered by Alan Tudyk were pretty great. A lot of really sly sort of sarcasm to the point where we would like to see him back, but no one else, because no one else is remembered from that film except the droid.
It was played straight as well, whereas pretty much every one of the sequel movies has really inappropriate humor in it, and it just pokes fun at everything. Rogue One was pretty serious for the most part, and it befitted the situation they were in. So those elements, I guess, worked.
Darth Vader hallway scene, whole movie's worth it for that.
Yeah. It was nice to see Vader just being pure full-on beast mode, I suppose. But yeah, I'd be lying if I said I loved it. There was a lot of problems with the narrative, the flashbacks to things that had happened literally 5 minutes earlier. That was just weird. Jyn Erso was a fucking blank-faced plank of wood as a character. Didn't really identify with her at all. She was just nothing. Cassian Andor, yeah, can't wait to see his TV show. Such a fascinating dude.
Super exciting. I would honestly, it would make more sense to me if they made a show called K2SO and it's just the fucking robot.
Do it. I can't even say this one. Lukavi Wifalk says, Kitty in an alternate timeline. We must treat steaks with respect.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the cat thing. Yeah. Corey Coleman says Jar Jar Binks. He was a thing. Love us. Yeah. Flubber 11 USA. Star Trek: The Wrath of Morn. There we go. Claudio Rogajan. My brother walked out of Tragedy of Macbeth an hour in after his friend fell asleep. Lol. He said it was very slow. P.S. Nice talking to you yesterday. Yeah, that was on the Patreon live stream. So that was great to speak to some of my Patreon people. And yeah, can't talk about the Tragedy of Macbeth. Sadly, I don't know much. Jack Tees says, I'm actually really scared about Spider-Man freshman year. Don't ruin Spider-Man. Everything gets ruined.
Everything gets ruined eventually.
The Panda says, weren't Tusken Raiders supposed to be the Taliban? I mean, I can see it, like, but this is the thing, like, now, like, we have to, apparently the Taliban are nice, and we have to negotiate with them and stuff. Like, man, it's changed days. It really is.
They have a culture. Respect it.
Yeah. Did you see the videos that came out like after they took Kabul and stuff? And it's like them like trying to work, like they're in multi gyms and stuff, so, like trying to work the equipment. They don't know what anything does.
Oh my
And they're
god!
like, they're on a lake and they're playing around in pedalos, but they've still got like their AK-47s. It's the most surreal shit I think I've ever seen.
Sketch like that's how
it really is. Yeah. Just the Taliban having a nice night out on the town with the lads, you know.
Just in their full getup, like
still fully armed. Yeah. Oh man, it must be a wild place to be, like Afghanistan.
yeah.
I mean, not that it ever hasn't been, but yeah, like Christ now. Damn. Murphy says, hi, said, Drinker, you aperitif of prose and punditry. What is your next book about, and when will we be able to read it? I won't blame you for stepping away from the YouTube for a chance to read a quality story. Yeah, so my next one should be out in July or August. It is about a terrorist plot to use a Russian bioweapon to unleash a plague upon the world, and decimate the world's population if they don't get what they want.
Oh my.
And an ex-military guy who's now like a kind of security consultant is the only one who has the knowledge to stop them.
Is his name James Bond?
It is not, sadly, no.
Wow.
James Bunt. Yeah, so that's the basic premise. There's quite a bit to it, but yeah, it's a bit of a fun, story that I wanted to do for a while. It's a little bit of a twist on the sort of like the zombie genre. It's a bit like 28 Days Later with the kind of effects of this bioweapon. So that's what I was going for. There's some nice gory deaths in it, which is great fun to write. All right, next one. Corey Coleman, Leia, an Obi-Wan story.
Yeah, we'll see.
That could happen. Richard Ryder, which movie critic on YouTube is the biggest hack, and why is it Sean Chandler?
I don't even know who that is.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look him up. If you had to name your biggest hack, who would it be, and why would it be me?
I was about to, like, my brain was like Movie Bob, and I was like, is he a hack or is he just insane?
I think he's insane more than anything. Yeah, Sean Chandler. He's got 200,000 subscribers, so he's a fairly big channel. Yeah, I've never watched any of his stuff, so I don't know much about him. But would it be Stuckman? Someone like that?
Well, it could
Possibly.
be. Yeah, the kind of person that just doesn't even have opinions.
Yeah.
Ryan
What's
Johnson.
next? What's that, sorry?
Ryan Johnson, someone said. Like,
I mean, he is a hack. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Doug Walker. Hey, he's reviewed more movies than you and I put together.
That is true, yeah. There we go. They've combined them. Movie Bob's an insane hack. So, yeah.
That works, yeah.
Cover both, yeah. I don't think I've ever seen anyone as pretentious as Movie Bob. He's pretty much like, I have raided the thesaurus for my bit, and I'm just gonna like loy into it.
He's definitely that kind of person.
Yeah, Hassan Piker. Yeah,
Oh,
the champagne socialist himself. Okay, what's next? Said, looking forward to Indy 5. No, don't ever make this film, please. Yeah, if some, I don't know, if they just shut down production, that would be fine by me. Flubber11 USA said, my film professor told me Civil War is Trump propaganda. You need to find yourself a new film professor then, I would say.
Trump propaganda. Oh, I think that Flubber's got a video on that. That's in our backlog for EFAP memes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I think the conversation I'm not sure if he actually has the conversation, but I haven't seen it yet. It's in my stuff, but the professor I think tries to explain how Civil War is Trump propaganda.
This is, I mean, what is the next generation of filmmakers getting taught? Like, if this is what they're getting fed, what the hell is going to get produced like 20 years from now?
Yeah, because there are people who are watching us and have been inspired by us, which is great to hear. But like, we're not mainstream education. We're not like for media studies,
Yeah, we should be, of course, but we're not.
Absolutely, obviously.
Professor MauLer.
Mm-hmm.
Anonymous Prime said that dude has the skills of a witcher. Minor Zircon says, hail good fellows, I can't wait for my drinker plushie. Yes, they should be around in I think is it February or March they ship, because I know there's a bit of a delay, but yeah, they'll get there, and I hope you enjoy it very much.
3 months from when you finished the thing, whenever that was. It should be 3 months, I think.
Yeah, so it'll be March then, I would think. S. Talbot says, drinker, you bastard. I too dream of a day where strong female characters can share the screen with strong male characters. Free at last. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? It's like we've got one side of that, but not the other. Tom Morris said, drinker, are you enjoying Yellowstone? Many seem to shit on it, I would imagine because of its unapologetic toxic masculinity. Shine on, you crazy diamonds. What the fuck's Yellowstone? Have I missed this one? Right, American TV series. So it's an American drama TV series created by Taylor Sheridan. It's on Paramount. So it stars Kevin Costner. The series follows the conflicts along the shared borders of a large cattle ranch, an Indian reservation, and land developers. Fair enough. So Kevin Costner is now acting in a TV show. God damn.
Good for him.
I do like him. I just don't know. I don't know why I like him. It's a weird one, like, because he's not a particularly amazing actor, but he just seems kind of just like a nice guy, just quite chill.
Yeah.
Alan Love says, how about a drinker recommends on Band of Brothers? Yeah, absolutely. I imagine there's lots of young'uns that have never seen it. That's making me feel really fucking old, because in my head, like, Band of Brothers is just a pretty new show.
Yeah.
But then it's like early 2000s, so it's like 20 years old, basically. What the fuck?
Oh, you just like, when you think back to memories of like what is considered classic stuff coming out, and you're like, yay, this is out. I went to the theater to see Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
I say that to you, and you're like, well, yeah. I just mean that my generation. Well, I say a lot of people I hang out with are like, what? No, I was like a baby when that came out. I was like, yep.
Fuck yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel privileged to have seen that at the cinema. It was a great experience.
Oh, I realized looking back, I lucked the fuck out. Watching him fight the Balrog in the cinema, that was something to remember.
You would have been a little tiny MauLer at the time, seeing that.
2001, so I would have been 8. Apparently my dad is a legend.
Yeah, seems like it, yeah. I remember getting on with my girlfriend at the time when we saw Two Towers. So I missed part of that movie at the time, but it was totally worth it. I don't know how I fucking convinced her to go see that. Like, she wasn't into fantasy at all. Never mind, it was an epic win.
Yeah.
Fishbowl said, cheers, the message is the reason shows are shit. Run, Hide, Fight is a movie I was wondering what your all thoughts on. Your friend from NYC. Yeah, you gave me $100 US, so thanks, man. Yeah, Run, Hide, Fight is on my list of movies to watch and review because I did hear a lot about it. It made a bit of a splash last year. I just never got around to seeing it, if I'm honest. But yeah, I know it's made by Daily Wire, is it? That was one of their first movies.
They produced it. I'm not sure what the link is exactly, but yeah.
So I'd be interested to see how it compares with like the standard stuff you get from Hollywood. And yeah, see it from that point of view. I know they've got a horror movie coming out soon. It's like a woman who's been locked in her house and like her kids, or she's like locked in a room in her house by like guys that have broken in, and like her kids trapped outside it. Which was kind of interesting as well. The trailer looked good, and I can't for the life of me remember the fucking name of it. Never mind. Happy birthday, Polly says the cops showing up to do something in the season finale of Cobra Kai was the biggest surprise of the newest season. Don't ruin it for me. I've got one more episode to go, but I have enjoyed it for the most part. There's been a few little niggles. There's a lot of drama between the teenagers in this season, and it's almost like they're going overboard with it, and they've got so many new characters that it's starting to get like kind of a bloated cast list. I think they need to slim it down a little bit. RRTNZ said, "Hail Drinker and Chads. My wife's a connoisseur of Korean film and TV. She recommends Space Sweepers. Great fun, kind of Serenity minus Joss Whedon. Cheers." Cool, man. I'll keep that one in mind then. Christoph's Egletis says, I recommend to check out South Korean show Kingdom. Yeah, I've heard that one recommended before.
He's seen that, I think, so.
There we go.
Thought it was good.
Happy birthday, Polly said, MauLer, in case the other guy doesn't show up, Kong Fap when? Lord Longman something switches something, good boy.
We're yeah, there's someone who Superchats once per like stream basically asking us to do the Peter Jackson King Kong free movie.
Okay.
We will do it eventually. Be interesting. Or join us for that one. Haven't seen that movie in a while.
It's been a long time since I've seen it. I would be tempted to watch it again. I remember not liking it that much at the time, but maybe
a lot of people felt like it was really long. I think they get to Skull Island like halfway through the film.
It's a pretty slow pace to it. But yeah, maybe I'd have a different view of it now.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, let me know when you're doing it, and I'll see if I can tune in.
Sweet.
Ragnarok says, anyone seen Psycho Gorman? Love that movie. I haven't, mate, I'm afraid. Double Black again said, Happy New Year, Drinker, you bastion of toxic masculinity. Thank you. By chance, have you or the panel seen Don't Look Up? Clever, that one. I've heard nothing but shit about it. Like, apparently it's terrible. And it's a really clumsy analogy for climate change.
I've seen so many clips where I've been put off watching it because of the tone. It looks like it's just trying to have loads of fun, but at the same time push like a lot of particularly dramatic or important events that it's supposed to be happening. So I just felt like I got a little bit like tonally confused, but maybe it works if you watch it. I don't know.
I need some advice from chat, actually. So look, I've got 3 miniatures here, right? And I'm trying to decide which one to drink next, because this is some of the leftover stuff from Christmas. So I have got Famous Grouse, White and Mackay, and what's the other one? The Famous Grouse Smoky Black. So I need your opinion. Which one should I drink next? So your choices are just the standard Famous Grouse, White and Mackay whiskey, or Smoky Black. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll drink that one next.
I think someone's got it right there. All three at once. That's the idea.
Just like, go black, Smoky Black. Yeah, people are saying Smoky Black here. I'm seeing a lot of that. I'm not mixing them all at once because they're already blended whiskies as it is. Yeah, I think it's Smoky Black all the way. All right, let's get this sucker open. I don't think I've ever had Famous Grouse Smoky Black, so this will be a new experience for me. Yeah, you know when you're like your relatives buy you stuff, and in my case, their default thing is to just buy me loads of whiskey miniatures because they know what I like. So there we go. I don't often drink blended whiskeys; it's usually malts for me. But let's give it a try. Oh wow, It's not smoky at all, which is weird.
Just say, isn't that the all right?
Yeah, that's like the defining thing about it. But no, it tastes more like a Speyside malt. You know, just really easy to drink. Yeah, pretty smooth for like a blended whiskey. That's not bad actually. Yeah, it's all right. But yeah, not peaty or smoky in the slightest. So that's really weird. Yeah, it is false advertising. Fuck you, famous grouse. I'm gonna find every grouse I can get my hands on and shoot it now. Anyway, right, that'll keep me going for the next little bit. Either way, Aram Magid says, I agree with all the issues in Book of Boba Fett. As a fan of the pre-Disney movies and expanded universe, I want to see where it goes, then feel disappointed. Hope I'm wrong. I think you will just be disappointed, if I'm honest, mate. Shakalaka King says, Castlevania suffers from teenage writing syndrome. Characters all act relentlessly immature and curse up a storm like they just learned about them. Despite this, season 1 was fine, but onwards it's meh. Okay. Like I said, heard good things about it, but yeah. Matthew Matson said, I figured it out. Boba Fett is Joe Biden, defective clone with mental deterioration and delusions of grandeur. There we go. Kelly Johnson, Drinker, get Az on board with Game of Thrones Season 8 deconstruction. I mean, I don't think we need to get him on board with that. He hates it as well.
Yeah.
Ken Wolf, glad to catch your stream live, Drinker. Aside from the Critical Drinker, have your particular name for the persona and voice you use in your Critical Drinker videos? I'm now saying, nah, it'll be fine all the time now. No, I mean, like, Critical Drinker is the name that I use for that, so I don't really need another one, like, you know, Sligathor or Bob or, like, you know, that one's fine for me. Patrick Mulligan says, Red Letter Media said that Matrix 4 was bad and they liked it for different reasons, which is pretty normal. You cannot skip half in the bag, such epic storylines. Yeah.
Well, that was the thing. I don't know if you watched their video after. They do say it's bad, but then they also say they loved it. It's really hard to follow, like everything they're trying to say in that video.
That really smacks of hedging their bets, if I'm honest. Not want to piss people off. I was, you know what? I was taking a bath the other night, right? And I was like, I've got my phone. I can listen to their review of it. And then I listened to G-Man Live's review in Red Faction instead. I don't know why. But that entertained me more, I think. Yeah, I'm sure I'll get around to it. But man, it seems like they got a bit of a weird take on it by what people have told me. Kelly Johnson said, MauLer, will John fulfill his Azhor Ahai destiny?
Well, he didn't. Like, I guess when he killed Daddy, was that supposed to count? I don't know. Maybe in the books. In the books. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I think, as Gary's theorized, like, it could be that the major beats we saw in the show are what's going to happen in the books, but the George will build them up differently, which I think is very likely, honestly. Like, Danny going nuts, I could see that being a thing, but George will do it differently than the show. So he's probably second-guessing himself on everything now after the show. I mean, I think he's hoping he's going to die before he has to finish it, and that resolves the problem for him, because it really seems like he doesn't know what to do with it. He's got like a million plot lines that he's got to try and tie up. He's got a TV show that probably used all his plot beats and was a horrible disaster at the end, and so he's got to try and cobble together a new storyline ending, which is not an easy thing to do when you've probably been planning it for 20 years. And so all those things combined just probably makes him think, yeah, I'm too fucking old for this. I can't be bothered anymore. And I just want to run out the clock. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, yeah, there's a good point, actually. It would have been good if Plinkett had reviewed Matrix 4. It seems like he could have torn out a new one. Yeah, because that's the thing, right? Like, sometimes it can take a little bit of time for a thing to settle. Like, because Plinkett's review of TFA was pretty harsh, if I remember, but Mike's review of TFA was pretty positive. Yeah, when they
because they reviewed it like literally right after getting back from the movie theater.
Yeah.
And I remember Mike just being like gushing about it. He was like, I loved it. It was everything I hoped it was going to be.
Yeah, it was everything he wanted, which JJ can be good at. But I think the veneer of JJ has worn the fuck off for a lot of people now.
Yeah.
Tricks don't work anymore.
That was probably like when he was at his peak, wasn't it? Like he'd done Star Trek. The first one was reasonably successful. Now he was moving on to Star Wars, and people were just thinking, man, this guy just rejuvenates tired old franchises. It's great.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because it was like he saved Star Wars. The prequels almost destroyed it, but JJ brought it back, and it's like, look at it now. He's responsible for what is like one of the most embarrassing installments in the entire saga.
Yeah. Do you think it would have been like, say he'd just done all three movies? Do you think Rise of Skywalker would have been halfway palatable?
I think we would have had things happening that wouldn't have pissed people off so much. Luke wouldn't have been a disaster, you know? And that alone is already going to make people like TLJ a lot more if it were his. And then Tross can be a film that's built on TLJ and TFA. Meaning, by the way, that we probably would have gotten... so this is a funny thing to think about, right? When Kylo is torturing Rey, I think in TFA, he says, why would a droid show a random scavenger the map? And the implication with that line is that she's important to some degree. Now, if we go by what the trilogy says, it's because she's a Palpatine? Like, BB-8 showed her the map because that doesn't make sense. Like, well, because the original thing was going to be that she was Kenobi's daughter. That was going to be the connection. That would explain her power. That would put a lineage to some, just stuff like that. So JJ probably would have made it so that was the actual one. It would have been a lot more generic, the trilogy. It would have been all the payoffs we would expect. Luke would likely save the day. Rey would have the exact same arc as probably Luke in the original trilogy. It would have been stuff we would all been like, yeah, well, yeah, okay. And we would have forgotten about it in a couple of years. But instead it turned into fucking nightmare fuel.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like, I could almost have lived with it. It'd just been like safe and bland and forgettable.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you made a bit of money. You didn't like fuck anyone over. Yeah, I can just like experience that and let it go. Like you say, it turned into something very, very different. The Ginger Menace said, love your channel, Drinker. If you ever need a mod, I'm Doomcock's mod and I love it. Hired Rennie for help there, among others. If not, it's cool. Thank you for the fun. No, well, thank you very much. Like, I've got some great mods that are doing the Lord's work here today, and I very much appreciate what they do. But yeah, it's always good to have people like standing by. E. Smith said, Drinker, are you a fan of Kingsman? Would you do a review of all the franchise's highs and lows, including The Kingsman? Yeah, I like Kingsman 1. Yeah, I thought it was a good, fun movie. Great casting, some great action scenes, just a fun film. Second one, it just felt a bit overwrought, and just kind of playing out the same ideas. I fucking loved Samuel Jackson in the first one. Yeah, like some of his lines were fantastic. I loved the fight between Eggsy and Giselle. Just thought that was great fun. So, yeah, there's some good moments in it. I love like when Samuel Jackson gets stabbed through the chest, he fucking throws up at the same time because he can't stand the sight of blood. Chris Mitty said, Drinker, thanks for taking the time to discuss Spider-Man the other day. Cheers to all. Thank you. Poland 805 says, Tomb Raider 2001 movie review sometime. I would review that, actually. And you know what? Right, MauLer, I have a suggestion for you. We're always looking for new arcs on EFAT movies, right?
Hmm.
What about an adventure movie arc? Right.
So Indiana Jones feels like the obvious.
Yeah, you've got the Tomb Raider movies. There's obviously going to be an Uncharted film coming out. The Mummy movies. Like these are all just like classic adventure stories. I think
Pirates of the Caribbean, do they count?
Yeah, I think you could probably put them in there as well. So there's quite a lot like that fit into that genre. And yeah, like I think the Tomb Raider, the Angelina Jolie ones, I think you could have a bit of fun with them for sure. I liked the first one. The second one was just really forgettable. I don't know. Did you ever have much exposure to them?
Oh yeah, I saw him, and she was a knockout in the first one, from what I remember.
Yeah, I think they gave her a fair bit of padding, to give her sort of Lara Croft proportions, and I was fine with that.
I was fine with that.
Yeah. I just love the fact that they had Chris Barry in there as well. Like, I'm always going to love him for Red Dwarf, but like, him playing a butler for some reason, that was great. I like the first one. I can't believe it's like 20 years ago now. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okie Native says GPS tracking tags sent to your PO box. It's a thing. I don't doubt it. Big Dave K says, gotta admit it, I miss dumb fun movies like Commando. Why wouldn't you? Great fun. I even miss like the Michael Bay era of movies. Like even that is now starting to seem like some fun, crazy, like retro time period, and it was only 10 years ago. But like I would take his movies even over most of the stuff that we get today. Just like dumb action flicks. But they're just there to have fun. I'm fine with that. Night King 01 said, have you ever seen the RKO Awakens trailer? I cried from laughing the first time I saw it. RKO? Don't think so, no. What is that?
I'm not sure.
Give me a second, I'll have a look. Star Wars The RKO Awakens. Right, yeah, so it's a Randy Orton thing. Right. I don't know if I can kind of play this for people, or it's not going to get me copyrighted or anything. I'll see what I can do. Give me a second. Let's see if I can bring it up. Okay. See if it works. Hopefully you can see it. Can you see what I'm seeing? Like the trailer screen? All right, let's go.
Oh wait, is it supposed to be audio?
Yeah, can you hear anything?
No, I can't.
Let's see. Why is it not? That's a shame. You know what I could do actually is just stop sharing, and if I just download it for a second, quick download. There we go. Yeah, I can actually just share the actual video file. It's probably easier that way. Give me 1 second. Share.
Sure.
There we go. There, try it that way. Can you see this?
Yep.
All right, let's see. You got it now? Audio?
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Who are you?
God, the emotions.
Oh, it's intense.
And his name is John C.
That was beautiful.
Dude, it just reminded me of like when the Force Awakens trailer came out, everyone was just like, the potential is through the roof here. This could be incredible.
I know. It looked so epic. And yeah, that was obviously they understood how to play on all those emotions. They got trailers down to a fine art. They know how to do all this stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, we were so excited. It looks so kinetic and so fast paced compared to the prequels. Like, damn. Oh well. Patrick Mulligan said Vest's Hitby storyline was Mike making Jay marry Plinkett. The ending was let down by falling back to the tired sleeping with a volcano god trope. Fair enough. Yeah. The top 10 Den says, apologies for being tardy. Please carry on. Brit Talk, I railed at least 3 Essex girls when I was on band trip in high school. Essex girls are pretty easy, man. That's a good. That's not too hard. John said, "Are mushy peas anything like when you get on a pie floater?"
What?
I don't know. I've never had one.
A pie floor?
Pie floater.
Oh.
So is that when you combine a bunch of stuff like on top of a pie?
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Pie floater. The fuck? Oh, right. Okay. Oh, Christ, that looks awful. Yeah, so it's like you take a pie and then you drop it into a bowl of like pea soup, essentially.
Oh.
It looks like someone sneezed like all over it while they've got like a really bad sinus infection.
That sounds like it's not that sounds like a thing that's not a thing. It's like if I went, oh, have you ever had, crumplings? And you're like, what's that? It's like when you blend up a pizza into a drink. You're like, what? But why?
It'll be a thing if you go to like some like really obscure district in east of London or something like that. You know, like just there's like one small group of people that know it. But yeah, I mean, it's probably a bit like that. Like mushy peas aren't like soup; they're not like liquids. They're just peas. They're just peas that are mushy. Like the clue's in the title.
Yeah, you can have it so there's no like soup element to it. It's just the peas, but they're all yeah.
Cardero says, "Hey drinker, loving the Ryan Drake series. I'm halfway through book 3 so far. Excellent work, man. Thoughts on the author Irvin Welsh? What do you all think of Trainspotting movie adaptations of his books? Cheers." So I haven't read his books. Like in terms of Trainspotting as a movie, yeah, it's pretty fucking good.
I still haven't seen the sequel. Was that worth it?
I haven't seen it. I don't know, man. The only thing about Trainspotting is like it's kind of a movie of its time. Like it's got a very like mid-90s vibe to it, and the characters, like none of them are particularly likable people, and it's kind of written to be that way, I guess. Like they're all like junkies, and yeah, they're all just like total shitheads to each other. And none of them I particularly liked, apart from Spud. Maybe he's like the unfairly caught up in all of it. But yeah, it really captures that spirit of Edinburgh back in the day. Like it's pretty good in that respect. What's the next one here? The Simpsons since 1990 says, "All peas suck. I'm Yank and I've watched a lot of UK YouTubers over the last 5 years. I get the lingo. I'm all 4 nations according to my ancestry DNA." Nice. I must do my ancestry thing one day and find out where the fuck I'm from. But yeah, that's it. All peas are shit, apparently.
Well, we tried.
It's not something I've got a strong like opinion on. Like, if someone was to wipe peas out of the food groups, just like you can never have them again, I wouldn't shed a tear. I'd be all right with that. OK Native says battered pizza and the US is judged for corn dogs. Yeah, you guys have got to get battered pizza in your lives. You know,
apparently, yeah.
I just don't know how they've never embraced it before. Like, surely, damn, America's the land of deep frying things. What's the next one? Right. Christopher Conard says, "Check out the food from the Texas State Fair. They invented deep fried butter. They'll fry anything." Is that real? Chat, you're going to have to help me out on this one, right? Because I've heard about this before, that you can get battered deep fried butter.
What?
How? How does it even work? Wouldn't it just turn to liquid?
Is that just like suicide booths, but in the form of food? Like,
yeah, it's real, apparently. Yeah. Yeah, like says the guy from the country that deep fries Mars bars. Yeah, but at least Mars bars like are going to be somewhat like solid when you begin with them. Like butter is just going to melt straight away. Yeah. Okay. So you freeze it, then you flash fry the outside. It doesn't even sound like it would be appealing. And this is a Scottish guy talking here who eats deep fried pizzas.
I mean, we just got to give it a chance. We'll give it a chance at some point.
I mean, yeah, if like I go to a state fair in America somewhere, I'll get myself some deep fried butter and promptly die, I guess. Yeah, definitely going to shorten your lifespan, if nothing else. The top 10 Den said doner kebab and curry chips and 3 Essex girls. I'm from Canada and I know that shit. Yeah. Doner kebab and curry chips, that's a pretty good meal right there. You're sorted. Star Trekker 58 said, hey guys, do you even have any beaches worth running down? Holidaying on the Gold Coast in Australia at the moment where we have real sand. Yeah, rub it in, why don't you? I like a pie and peas with tomato sauce, vinegar for chips. I mean, beaches, like, you're in Wales, MauLer. You must know, you must have beaches where you are.
We have some beaches here and there. Not ones that are like amazing or anything, but you know.
Apparently, like in Scotland, if you go like way up to not the Orkney Islands, sorry, the Hebrides, they have got like if you go in the summertime, and we go in the winter and you'll fucking die from like, exposure, but like go in the summertime and they've got these beautiful like white unspoiled beaches and it looks like you're in a completely foreign country. It's so uncanny. But yeah, like stuff like that is just an odd thing in these like really remote islands in Scotland. But apparently, yeah, they are beautiful up there. So yeah, we've got that. But yeah, where I live, like if you go to the beach, there's like, you know, seaweed and condoms and discarded face masks and stuff everywhere. Like it's not the sort of thing you'd want to run down.
Yeah, you see them everywhere now. Face masks, they're just
I know
thrown everywhere.
It's the pictures I've seen where it's like a guy, you know, he's holding out his arm like that, and it's just like face masks all dangling from it that he's picked up on the beach, and it's like, well, at least we've banned plastic straws, eh? You know. Conman Kershaw says, shit, I'm late to this one too. Good to see you, gentlemen. Have any of you seen Valkyrie starring Tom Cruise? If so, what are your thoughts? I've seen it and I liked it. I thought it was really good.
I remember liking it. It's a bit like, I don't know, it's a bit strange because like, is there a part in that film where they gradually go from speaking German to speaking English?
Because no, I think it's pretty much English all the way through from what I remember.
Pretty sure they start speaking German and they deliberately change over because they're like, they don't want to, they're trying to make a point about they're doing it. I assume they're doing it because I'm pretty sure like King Theoden is in that, right? The actor at the beginning. I want to watch that movie again. I have curious thoughts about it.
Yeah, he is in that. He's like it's pretty early on. It's like they're in Africa and like just a general or something like that gets killed.
Tom Cruise gets injured in that.
Yeah. I think they take a few liberties with historical events. You know, I think they imply that this whole plot came closer to succeeding than it really did. But yeah, like it's pretty tense. It's good at building up the tension and the drama. And yeah, I remember it being pretty decent. The pacing was pretty good throughout it. Yeah, there's a lot of things I liked about that film actually.
I'm gonna rewatch sometime.
Yeah. Striker24 said, would you accept a peeping Tom drawing from that Star Wars girl? I'm going to answer for Az on that one and say yes, he would. Tirana Cygnus says, I was in a pub. 2 large ladies had an accent, so I asked you ladies, are you from Ireland? They yelled, Wales! So I asked, okay, are you Wales from Ireland? They kicked my butt, which is reasonable, I would say. 0 Hour Discussion said, for the love of God, please don't kill Aerith. Well, I think they will, ultimately. Android327 said, what are your thoughts about the future of Tom Hardy's Venom in the MCU? Also, hi Drinker, hi MauLer, and hi Az. Love all of your content.
Hello. Who knows, I guess? It's going to be up to whether or not what contracts are going to get made now because we're at the point of renewal, I think.
He's a Sony property now, isn't he? So
yep.
I don't think he's got much future in the MCU, if I'm honest. Because Sony, I think, are fighting quite hard to like establish their own, extended universe.
They have got some gorgeous leverage right now.
Well, when you're holding Spider-Man hostage, you can do whatever you want, can't you?
Well, we've talked about it, but the 3 Spider-Men put together, I think they have more pull than all of the MCU characters put together.
At this point, yeah, absolutely. Sean Di Stefano says, critical, what's your thoughts, bourbon or scotch? as a matter of preference, like I would go for Scotch. Good malt whiskey for just enjoying of an evening. If I was on a night out or whatever, I'd go for bourbon and mix it with stuff because you can get that stuff down your neck pretty quickly and easily. And it's cheaper. The top 10 Den said, you brosifs were talking about voice actors. I had that guy who did Darkseid in Zack Snyder's Justice League record my voicemail greeting for me. Well, that's nice. Good stuff for getting them. Chucksenhausen said, I pray Drinker, you're at episode 8 of Cobra Kai, a roller coaster of emotion from joy to woo to boink to tears, all in under 35 minutes. Yeah, episode 8 was an interesting one. I don't want to say too much here because I know MauLer, it's not going to mean anything to you, but yeah, man, it was a pretty harsh ending for that episode. Terry Silver just going nuts. JS Pena says, Happy New Year, Drinker. Happy New Year to you, Pena. Thanks, man. That brings me up to date with all the super chats from the other night. So we made it through them. Just give me a second. Yeah, there's a few that have come in tonight, obviously. Are you okay to go through them more?
Yep.
All right. Next one is... Black Sun says, I recommend Bible Black at your earliest convenience. I've never heard of Bible Black. What is that?
I don't know what that is either. No.
Okay. She'll look that up later. Sloth Leadfoot says, an out-of-shape old man beating up people half his age. I feel like overwhelming majority of American Disney Plus subscribers commit that idea. Yeah, you've got a point there, actually. Finally, I see myself on screen. Black Sun says, Dark Souls 2 rules, MauLer and Bioshock 2.
Well, I guess I just have to say, for the record, Dark Souls 2 is horrible, but Bioshock 2... if they're referencing how I did a full playthrough of Bioshock 1, I'd be interested in doing the second one. I'm not sure when, but at some point.
Patrick Mulligan says, Drinker, you fumbling thinker. I've got myself a glass, the spoon, and a couple of bottles of absinthe. Get yourself some and do the Moulin Rouge. Yeah, absinthe, man, that's fucking deadly. The swashbuckling scallywag says, watch Togo, an almost perfect film. I have Tatiana and will do unspeakable things unless my demands are met. Well, joke's on you, sir, because I know exactly where Tatiana is right now, and she's locked up in my basement.
Oh my goodness.
Kelly Johnson said, MauLer, do a Game of Thrones Season 8 deconstruction with Drinker, Nerdrotic, and Az. Do it.
Didn't we already do that for a long time back when it came out?
I feel like we probably have. We've definitely ranted about that for sure. Will Elmore says, hey, Drinker and MauLer, question for you guys. What would Boba Fett have done if the gun train turned out to be carrying passengers or much needed medical supplies?
Oh, we can't be challenging our characters morally in that way. Let's make it easy. The gun train is filled with guns. Yep,
of course it is. Yeah, because they're just bad guys doing bad things.
Yep.
Critical Stoner says, any thoughts on Dexter and Dexter New Blood? I have no thoughts on either of them because I haven't seen them, so I couldn't tell you.
What was the release schedule for all of that? Because I just had a friend sent me a message saying that the new ending to the Dexter shit is almost as frustrating as the old one. I was like, oh shit.
What, like how much time has passed between Dexter and New Blood?
No, just were we doing like a episode by episode, or did it all come out, or is it only recently finished?
Dexter, New Blood. Let's see if it'll tell me. So, it says here, yeah, so it was released weekly. So,
okay.
The final one came out on the 9th, so it was only, well, today actually, yeah.
That makes sense. Apparently the ending is not good. Again.
Yeah, fucking hell. How disheartening is that? You fucked up a show twice. Mandy Karevicus says, what is your favorite flavor of toilet duck? Personally, I enjoy citrus bowl gel, but I can see how you might be an original blue kind of guy. You beat me to it because I'm a lemon sort of flavor guy. So yeah, citrus bowl is all the way for me. It's the best one. It's got the best aftertaste as well. Black Sun says you should both do a stream going over Buffy with Passion of the Nerd. It seems to be his life.
Well, wait. Drinker, you don't give a shit about Buffy, right? I can't remember.
I mean, I don't dislike it or anything. Like, I watched it back in the day. I don't have a strong attachment to it or anything.
Wouldn't want to make you have a whole stream on it when you like going to get a vague awareness. I think me and Gary are going to do something with Buffy eventually. We'll do something.
Claudio Rogajan says, "What was college like for you, Drinker?" Easy and fun. Yeah, like I was like a technical university, so there was none of this like kind of crap that you get nowadays. Like there was no liberal arts degrees there or anything like that. So it certainly wasn't bound up in all the shit that universities have to go through now. And yeah, I just remember it being pretty like chill and good fun for the most part. You went to the student union, you just went there and got drunk. That was it. There was no political stuff going on there. Easy. But that was like 15 years ago, so it's probably changed a great deal since then. But yeah, for me, it was just good fun experience. Eldridge Blasted says, Drinker, have you finished Cowboy Bebop yet? No, I'm on, what is it? I'm on session 8 or 9. Yeah, I'm not got to the end yet, but like from what I've been watching so far, it's just been a good fun show. Like, yeah, I like most of the characters. I like Faye. Like, I don't know what they've done with her in the new one, but in the original, she's like pretty endearing and pretty fun. Spike's really good. Yeah, it's a good show. Honest Comrade says PCU with Jeremy Piven in the 90s showed college for what it has become. Damn, and that was in the 90s. The Car Guys TV says, new to the channel, but it fucking rocks. Thanks, man. Black Sun says, the deleted end of T2 is the true end. Watch it, Drinker. No, that's not the true end. That's goofy as fuck. Linda Hamilton in her old lady makeup. She looks like the Crypt Keeper or something.
Well, we'll take it over a Dark Fate, all right, if we have to choose.
Well, yeah, for sure. Jonas Larson says, Spider-Man, 2 ants at home. Brilliant. Who is John Galt 25 says, Drinker, your next Ryan Drake novel. He gets captured in Afghanistan, has to save the girl and get the secrets. Love what you do. Have a drink on me. Yeah, get the secrets. David Sakamoto, I'm working on a movie review. How do I avoid copyright strikes while still using relevant footage? Has no audio and some editing over the footage. Yeah, usually I think the rule is 8-10 seconds of footage, as long as you use less than that.
When I was starting out, it was 10, then it went down to 8, and now I'm down to 6. I try to never go over 6 because I got clipped for that. Even like it's a nightmare.
Which I'm sure is really fun, MauLer, when your video is like 3 hours long, eh?
It's fucking amazing that I can spend half a year making a video. I get clipped for that one little bit, and then I have to do it all over again. Frustrating, annoying, takes all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, motherfucking Hassan Piker just streaming MasterChef episodes one by one while just going, huh, oh, this is good, huh. And then he gets hit with a takedown that's just like, don't do that anymore. And he's like, wow. I'm saying, you're like, oh, mate, you're lucky that Twitch apparently doesn't give a fuck, and they'll just be like, oh yeah, just don't do that anymore, as opposed to bye channel. Like, absolutely amazing. I can't believe that shit's happening.
Yeah.
Like, he and Pokimane stumbled into stealing content. They were just like, oh, it's not okay to stream full TV shows? Huh, okay.
Yeah, because Sniper Wolf does that as well, doesn't she? Just kind of like watches other stuff and just reacts to it at this point. And it's like,
it just
yeah, it doesn't matter if you're doing a reaction. If you're ultimately showing all that stuff on screen, you're fucking pirating it, essentially.
Me and Fringy edit those Boba Fett reactions, right? The amount of fucking effort we put in to making them copyright ready and transformative. Meanwhile, they just watch TV and make money. It's just like, what the hell?
And the thing is, Disney's all right with that for the most part. Like, they're definitely not the worst when it comes to enforcing copyright.
Yeah, they're not the worst.
I think Warner's the worst. They're fucking assholes. Paramount's really bad as well, now that I think about it. But yeah, I think that's MauLer's advice. Then, like, limit your clips to under 6 seconds. What says, have you caught up on Cobra Kai and The Expanse? If so, what are your thoughts? So I'm almost at the end with Cobra Kai. I've been like spacing it out because I didn't want to get through it too quickly because I've just been enjoying it like a fine whiskey. Expanse, I haven't watched the latest season. I kind of tuned out of it after I did my review. I was just less inclined to go back to it. I don't know. Like once they brought in like the alien plot and stuff and like going through the gateways to other planets, it wasn't quite as good because it was no longer grounded. It was proper like sci-fi then. The emphasis on fiction. Black Sun says, I plan on telling stories through YouTube like channel Horror Shorts Party. How do you feel about it? It feels like the fastest route for a career in storytelling. I mean, I don't know how quickly it is for people who want to tell their own stories because I don't do that. I just do reviews, but it's a pretty good platform for all of that stuff, especially if you're creating original content. You're not going to have to worry about, copyright or anything like that. So yeah, go for it. Patrick Mulligan says, why must you do your streams on nights that I work and therefore cannot get drunk? Sorry, mate. My bottle of sake and Japanese whiskey samplers are lying in wait. Get Jay on. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just like these are the nights that I'm available, and like it's kind of just shaking out this way. I do Thursday night streams and then catch up on a Sunday. Striker24 says, Drinker, what would be your character in Azzy's Peeping Tom comic? I see you as the guy at the computer passed out drunk with Tatiana. Your thoughts? I got nothing to dispute that with, man. Yeah.
I like the idea that you're his tech guy, but you're always drunk. Like,
yeah, just like no help whatsoever.
where are the criminals? And you're like, this guy, you know the kebab place down.
Yeah, it's like, wait, what do you want me to hack? I don't even understand how to do that. What the fuck? Where am I? Patrick Mulligan said, MauLer, tell Drinker to get drunk Rags on. So cute. Yeah, so we'd have to get Rags really drunk and then bring him on, apparently.
Well, I mean, if you have 3 beers, that's what gets him like teetotal, basically.
I've never seen Rags drunk, I don't think. He's always frustratingly sober whenever I've been on a stream with him.
Yeah, when he was drunk, when we were playing some game, I don't even remember, at one point he described Jay as his rock in a stream that he can grab onto and everything will be safe.
Ah, that's beautiful. Stephen Scott said, your dad sells Avon. Wow, he does contract killings, but that's a whole other story. Haikyuu says, if Shmi had not died, Anakin would have turned out very different. I'm sorry, everyone, Star Wars is a dead IP. I can't argue with that, really. In terms of like telling new, interesting, exciting stories, it's got nothing. Wolfsbane said, at first they were going to make that Roach scene comedic, but Henry Cavill had to beg for it to be heartfelt. Shows how much they actually cared. Yeah, fucking hell. Also, they twisted Eskel's character into a vain, angry douche. He's the opposite in the books, and he's an older brother to Ciri, and then they killed him off. Yeah, a lot of people are mad about that. This character that was quite a major character in the books, he's in one episode, then he just fucking dies. Really shit. John Freeman gave me $5. Thank you. And so did Shibatron. Cheers, mate. High Ice 007 says, Drinker, have you a chance to come and see the Paradise about the internment of Japanese Americans in World War II? Stars Tamlin, Yamota, and Dennis Quaid. No, I've not seen that at all. I'm sorry. MC said, hello, Drinker. Wouldn't the Tusken Raiders, the natives, be the ones who could handle the environment? So why the masks? Good point. They should be adapted to it by now.
Yeah, that's interesting thing about.
TK Guy said, hey guys, a few weeks ago I recommended Wind River and you looked up the wrong one. I meant the 2017 one with Jeremy Renner and written and directed by Taylor Sheridan. Oh, okay, so Wind River. What is it? Okay. a second. Okay, so it's a neo-Western murder mystery written and directed by Taylor Sheridan. Okay, it's an FBI agent and a wildlife tracker who tried to solve a murder on the Wind River Indian Reservation in Wyoming. Okay. Of course, it had to have Graham Greene in it, because if it's going to have any kind of Native American stuff, Graham Greene's got to be there. Damn, it reminds me of that one with Val Kilmer that he was in. Fuck, what was that called again? Shit, that's going to bother me now. I think it was Thunderhawk. Val Kilmer. Yeah, Thunderheart, that was it. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that, because he was an FBI agent as well. I'm pretty sure he was investigating a murder. Oh, well, cool. I'll keep it in mind then. Sir Adlik said, ever considered doing Serbian movies, old and new? I mean, I'm totally open to it. I just don't know any. Isn't there one called The Serbian Movie, which is like the most disturbing shit ever made?
Yep.
Is it called that?
I think it's a Serbian film, I think is what it's called.
A Serbian film, yeah. Fuck that. I ain't going to review that, because there's no way I can even use footage from it. Jesus. Eldritch Blasted says, well, Game of Thrones will never finish, and I just couldn't get into The Witcher. I guess I'm going back to read Berserk. Stuck in hiatus hell with Game of Thrones author. Game of Thrones died, if you didn't know. But damn, it's a phenomenal read. Definitely recommend it. So Berserk. Yeah. William Fleming, Drinker, what is your favorite episode of South Park? Cheers from Newfoundland. Fuck. I mean, like, you're going back like 20 years or something. Christ. I did like the one where is there not one where they're like they do like the biggest turd in the world, and like it's put in like a glass case and stuff, because like everyone's so fucking fascinated. But I think it's Mr. Garrison who does it. And yeah, I just remember it being so fucking ridiculous. I was like, this is brilliant, because it's measured in Courics. Yeah. Like the measurement of like how big a shit is like Katie Couric is like. It's like, I've never seen anything like it. It's at least 7 Courics big.
I think isn't it Bono is the world's greatest turd? Is that what they say?
It might like be actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember laughing my ass off at that one. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of others that jumped out at me. Like, do you have like a favorite one? Oh, it was Randy who did that. Yeah, fuck. Sorry.
Randy's the. Do I have a favorite what?
Yeah, like a favorite South Park episode.
I always loved Imagination Land. I love Cartoon Wars. There's a lot of the bigger episodes. I've actually I watched their 2 COVID specials. They're pretty funny.
I haven't watched it recently, so I'm a bit out of the loop with South Park. It was very much like a kind of back when I was at uni and stuff. Like, I'd be watching that a lot, but like, yeah, it's kind of fallen by the wayside in recent years for me. Chris Nicholson said, according to the timeline, Boba Fett is supposed to be about 32 when he escaped from the Sarlacc. Fucking hell, that just makes it worse. Either something went horribly wrong in the cloning process, or he must have had heavy substance abuse since childhood. Yeah, 32, Jesus. 02500 says, Boba will be saved by the Sand People in the finale. Of course he will. Yeah, they'll pay back their debt. Goulet86 says, whoa, Drinker, you look so much cleaner than I ever expected. Thanks for all the amazing insight and integrity, mate. Yeah, well, you can't smell me, so you don't know how clean I really am. Jimmy Kern says, Drinker, peer pressure MauLer into watching Cobra Kai. I need to hear Longman's thoughts on it. I've done what I can.
It's going to peer pressure me into watching Arcane first, don't you?
I know, yeah. We've got a lot to watch. MJ gave me $10. Thank you. Orestes Roditz says, Drinker, I beg you, watch the Equalizer trailer starring Queen Latifah. I've seen it, and it's as ludicrous as it sounds. Yeah, just hilarious. Jarn Mignons gave me €2. Thank you very much, mate. The top 10 den, throwing their weapons up and grunting. Sounds like my high school band trip from Canada to Essex County. It's pretty much any town in Scotland, really. Jimmy Kern, even though this is more than unlikely, would you want to see George return to direct a one-off Star Wars film? Nope.
Nah.
I wouldn't. Maybe come up with some ideas for it and then get a really good director and screenwriter to bring it to life. But yeah, don't direct. It's not his forte. Captain Pollywog Vanderbeef says, blows my mind that Disney had the entire expanded universe to work with. Then we got the sequels. Wasted opportunity. Yeah. I'm not an expert on the EU or anything like that, but man, there must have been some absolute gold in there. Apparently the Thrawn trilogy is meant to be really good. Michael Storm said, recently I started watching Dragon Ball Z again, and it's so nice to watch something that motivates you and hypes you up for a change. Western shows suck. Yeah, they pretty much do. Loyal TF fan says, MauLer, check out Soundwave in the show TF Prime. He has tentacles, transforms into a military drone plane, and wins many fights in the show. He's OP.
Sweet. I like Soundwave. He's cool.
Orphan Organs says, I know no hero shows, but Super Crooks is great. Cool. Ryan Vert says, just wait until he has to play Captain Rex in the Ashoka series. Ahsoka. You know they're going to butcher that show too. Clone Wars was the last good Star Wars. Yeah, and yet another one. M. Penn says, you haven't had a bad movie, or you haven't seen a bad movie until you've watched Fortress with Bruce Willis. Most unbearable 100 minutes of my life. Love your content. Thanks. The only Fortress I know of is the Christopher Lambert one.
I was going to say, I didn't even know Fortress with Bruce Willis. I don't even know what that is.
Bruce Willis is in everything now. He's in my living room right now. Fuck, man. It's got a 3.1 on IMDb.
Oh, I'm sure it's great.
What's the chat with that? Robert is a former CIA agent who lives a life of tranquility at a secret resort in the woods. One day, his estranged son drives to the camp for a visit, but he's followed by Robert's old nemesis, Balzari. As Balzari and his squad launch an all-out attack, father and son retreat to a high-tech bunker that has steel walls and advanced weapons. Okay. Yeah, so Bruce Willis is the main character, and fuck, there's Fortress 2 already. Bruce, what have you done with your career, mate? Seriously, like, fucking, you don't need this. Surely, at this point in your life, just retire if you don't give a shit anymore. Lucas Plevko said, could we get a closer look at the DR House series? Literally a series that could not be made today. The Good Doctor is nice, but... okay, so Dr. House, yeah. We could. I'd have to watch all of it, though. That's a lot. I mean, did you watch House at all?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Okay. You can do it then.
No. Someone's probably done it. I'm sure of it. Just go searching.
Steve O'Devil says, Hail Drinker and MauLer, have you noticed that woke TV cast is not attractive women being fawned over by 10 out of 10 men? A bit of wishing. Okay, so yeah, they're suggesting that like you've got kind of ugly women and the men are absolutely stunning and they want them. I've not noticed it really, but you know, usually everyone's just kind of ugly now. Jester of Roanoke says, just Zardos, everything up Star Wars, a Zardos story. Yeah, I would happily take that. Bring Zardos into Star Wars.
Do it.
Night King 01, remember when the CW had hit shows? Nope. Oh wait, they didn't. Just the shows brought over from the the Warner Brothers network when they merged, like Smallville. Yeah. Oh, the CW. Bless you. Jimmy Kern, what's the least worst to worst Marvel Disney Plus shows? So if we had to rank them, what's the best to worst?
Are we looking at like enjoyment factor or just how broken they are? Because obviously Loki's like the most broken, I'd say.
I'd probably go with enjoyment. Let's go with that.
So WandaVision's probably the best because it actually had episodes in it that I enjoyed.
Yeah, I'd agree.
We haven't seen Hawkeye, so we can't even rate that one. So then it's going to be, I really hated Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I found that so frustrating to watch.
Yep.
So
I'd probably rank Loki above Falcon and the Winter Soldier, not by much, but slightly, in the sense that like it was so preachy and so clunky and so obvious that like it just absolutely, I was gritting my teeth through pretty much every episode with Falcon. So yeah, I guess for me it would be like Wanda, then Loki, and then Falcon, and then who knows where Hawkeye sits in that. Cameron Turk says, "Hey Drinker, it's Cameron. Hope you're doing great. Congratulations on 1 million subscribers." I can't get the words out now. Went to see Spider-Man No Way Home and absolutely loved it, and also loved your review. Well, excellent, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Akunin 1876 says, "Hey beautiful people, I'm here to promote Paulo Sorrento's movies, especially Great Beauty, Youth, Drinker. Drinker, I think you'd appreciate them." Cool. Well, I mean, never seen them, but maybe one day. Michael Hansen says, "Any thoughts on how Cobra Kai succeeded when everybody else seemed to drop the ball?" They had respect for the originals. They took it in new directions, but like they stayed true to the characters. Yeah, all of that stuff. It's just good, well thought out writing.
Yeah,
not too hard. Kyle Mitchell said, "Morning, fellas. Doctor Strange 2, will it be woke?"
I don't know what we're gonna get.
I'm guessing it probably will if it follows the trend. Yeah, if it's Marvel Phase 4, it probably will be. RRTNZ says, "Hail Drunkler, Shmee MauLer, recommending Black Sails, Justified, and Banshee series. Watch the first episode of each, and that'll tell you everything you need to know. Have a pint on me, lads. Cheers." Thank you, man.
And yeah, we get recommended that here and there. From what I hear, it's a good film, a show.
Cool. Joshua Gonzalez said, "Drinker and MauLer, tell the new filmmakers to watch Akira Kurosawa, Jean Reno, Alfred Hitchcock, and Orson Welles. They should be good from there." Yeah, you'd think so, but like they had probably too many professors in film school, like we heard earlier. Barry Whittingham says, "Really looking forward to my Drinker plushies. Sadly missed out on the Rags and MauLer set. Any chance of a second run?"
Yeah, you'll get another chance eventually. We're planning on trying to do another set at some point.
Cool. Zero Depressive says, "Where the fuck can I go on this planet to forget about wokeness in lack of saving comets or asteroid?" Just watch older movies. There's thousands of them out there for you. Go back to anything that was made before about 2015 and you should be gold. The Biv says, "How does one episode of Cobra Kai have better fight scenes and choreography than the entire season of Hawkeye?" It depends who's fighting, because there's some really shit characters in Cobra Kai, or shit actors who don't know how to fight. So yeah, it depends who's involved. Wormy Spoon says, "Drinker, not to offend, but your story sounds a bit generic. How are you differentiating yourself in a competitive genre market? Drink the smoky black." Yeah, so okay, so this was, I guess, talking about my new book. I guess trying to go into more depth with the two main characters, because the relationship between the two of them is kind of central to what happens after that. There's kind of there's a historical mystery aspect to it as well that's kind of mixed in. Like I take real life historical things that have never been solved, and I work that into the narrative. And there's a slight bit of the supernatural to it as well, that's hinted at through it. So it's kind of a merging of different genres. Yeah, and I know I'm being a bit vague, but hopefully it makes more sense when the book actually comes out. I just don't want to give too much away right now. Kroisk says, "Have you guys seen Shogun Assassin, the 1980 mashup of the classic Lone Wolf and Cub series? Quality, cheesy swordplay, great synth soundtrack." I haven't seen that. Have you, MauLer?
No, I haven't seen it, no.
All right. Sorry, mate. Zero Depressive, "Your ancestors would be turning in their graves seeing you drink whiskey from a glass like that, Drinker." What the fuck? Like, this is a whiskey glass. What do you want me to say? This is specifically designed for drinking whiskey from. I don't have a fucking horn to drink it from, but that's. I'm sure my ancestors would be all right with this. Clown Attack says, I watched all your recommendations and loved them. I wonder if you've watched Attack on Titan. Also, are you still watching The Expanse? So Attack on Titan, no, I haven't seen, but it's definitely on my list to watch. I'm not still watching The Expanse at the moment, no. Just because I kind of fell out with it. Just moved on to other things a little bit. Mizzy Moore says, watch Succession, nominated for lots of Emmys this year and has already won loads before. It has a rating of 8.7 on IMDb, and Brian Cox is great in it. It's all right then. Do you like Brian Cox as an actor?
Yeah.
Jay Carter says, was curious how you manage your energy for creativity. Do you have a method to go from working on videos to writing novels? I usually work around 60 hours a week and struggle to get the creative juices flowing when I'm off work. I guess that's the advantage I have in that I'm either doing YouTube or writing novels. Like, I don't have to do a day job in between those things. I used to have to do all three at the same time, and it involved drinking a lot of fucking caffeine. And yeah, I guess you just have to be good at compartmentalizing your brain a little bit. I'd say, like, right, I'm going to be working on my book today, and that's what my mind is going to be 100% focused on. Then I'm going to do a YouTube video, the following day or whatever, and it's like, yeah, you just have to switch. You have to make that mental switch to get over into the other one. But it's particularly hard if you've got a day job, and that kind of carries over sometimes into the rest of your day. Yeah, it's a really fucking tough one. You just have to really develop that mental discipline to be able to switch from one to the other. But I don't envy you, mate. Patrick Mulligan said, remember, half in the bag are their immediate takes. Plinkett and the reviews have the benefit of time to ponder and reflect. That is true for all. Yeah, I'll give them that. I don't know how quickly they do half in the bag. Like, I know sometimes it's like straight out the movie theater and record it, but then I imagine sometimes they take a day or two to get everything set up.
Yeah, and they still say some stuff that, like I said, there's an air of Jay being like, a lot of people don't understand this film, and it's just like, ugh. You're right. Trust me. You'd be surprised when people understood what the Matrix Resurrections was going for and was still just like, oh.
Jay Carter said, I appreciate MauLer joining you for these Super Chat catch-up streams. You guys are absolute legends and greatly inspiring me to achieve my goals. Thank you, man.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff.
Best of luck to you. Mm-hmm. Kyle Mitchell said, I feel they miscast Tom Holland for playing Nathan Drake. What do you blokes think? Yeah, I agree 100%. He's too young.
I don't think anybody thought that he'd be a good Nathan Drake. That doesn't really match up at all. But the logic here is supposed to be this is really early years, I guess, but I don't know why. Yeah, Look, I'm willing to give up a chance, but I just don't see it.
Because they got Mark Wahlberg for Sully as well, haven't they?
He was also a little younger than Sully should be, right?
Sully should be like late 50s, early 60s at least.
Yeah.
And like, I know Mark Wahlberg is a bit older now, but he doesn't look old because like he's like super buff and all the rest.
Well, yeah, some people point out like Mark Wahlberg looks like the person you'd hire to play Nathan Drake, like his age.
Mark Wahlberg 10 years ago would have been a good fit for Nathan Drake. I mean, he can't fucking act to save his life. He's got one facial expression, but yeah, like that kind of guy, I suppose. I don't even know who you could use to be Nathan Drake. Like maybe Chris Pratt or someone like that. I don't know.
I mean, Nathan Fillion is the one a lot of people would like to see. It's just he's a bit old as well. Yeah.
They obviously want that franchise potential, don't they?
Yeah, and you need an actor, hopefully, who can do a little of their own stunts, at least. Which is probably why Tom Holland is going to be snatched up by a lot of people, because he's pretty young. He's an audience pull, and he's an acrobat. Like, he can do all kinds of stunt stuff.
Yeah. I mean, really, when does a main actor do any of their own stunts these days anyway? It's like you've got CGI and you've got stuntmen for all that stuff.
Yeah.
Storyteller Nyland says, give Rags a belly rub for me, MauLer.
All right, we'll do.
Get it done. Arnaud Duran says, hey, I was wondering if any of you have seen the TV show Euphoria, and if so, what did you think about it? Great show in my opinion. Season 2 is starting tonight.
Not seen it.
I haven't seen Euphoria, I'm afraid, mate. Sorry. Listen, could you do me one favor? I just need to go for a piss because all that whiskey's starting to make its way through me. Could you just entertain the chat for a minute or so?
Very well. I'll give it
all right. Cheers.
See you in a bit. How you doing, chat? What's up? What are we talking about? Stun person gets hit. They just find a new one. Lol. Pretty much. Did you hear about the Batwoman one? Right. So awkward to be like permanently, significantly injured when creating a show like that. Ugh. Sup, MauLer? Sup, Redcap. Don't forget to wash your hands. Yeah, hopefully Drinker takes care of that. MauLer Devil Love Clown. Is that what those emojis are? Evil Clown. Hi, Long Man. Hope New Year goes well. With feutisms. Yeah, I mean, we're up to 9 days into this year. It's already been an interesting one. Drinker under attack from Tuscans. Well, hopefully Drinker can sort of get them their land back and destroy a train for them, you know? MauLer, you're boring me. Pick it up. Wait, pick what up? Nothing's fallen. Oh, are you talking about the beers on the table in this wonderful art in the background? I cannot pick them up. It is a static image. Teach Drinker how to turn on slow mode. I don't even know how to turn on slow mode. Can mods not turn on slow mode? Like /slow or something? I don't know. MauLer's awesome. Thanks for being here. No problem. I do like to try and get a beer for the super chats especially if they're on the main show. You know, some of them are intended for me to hear. You know, yeah. See how it goes. Oh, there he is.
I made it. Yeah. God damn, that feels better. I was starting to get pretty urgent in that situation. Sorry. What were we talking about there?
Oh, just random stuff. Nothing really.
All right. Non-Vitae Rex said, MauLer, are you still planning a War Movies EFAP mini arc? What movie or movies would you watch first? Have a good one, guys.
Well, we've watched like 8, right? Something like that.
Well, they were kind of, would they be classed as like historical movies or like medieval type things? They were all like swords and sorcery type stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure out the name of the arc once it's complete. That'll be it. Yeah,
maybe one day we'll do like war, like gun war movies.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I like the group we've got for that. I would want to put through Pirates of the Caribbean. Honest, I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. We talked about a few things, didn't we? Like, I think I'd definitely love to do the Mummy films with you guys as well.
Oh yeah.
Redcap Goblin said, spoiler, Book of Boba Fett is just Boba hallucinating while being digested by the Sarlacc. I hope that's true. That'd be great.
There we go, yeah.
That would make a lot of sense, actually. Sheaf Burger says, the only character I want a spin-off from Phase 4 is John Walker. He did nothing wrong.
We'll be getting more of him eventually, and it's probably going to be him being fucking evil.
Oh, of course. He's American imperialism personified.
He is evil.
Yeah. Is it just like, I'm sure we've talked about this before, but this like Madame Hydra character played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Fuck, man, I just hate her. I hate her portrayal. I don't know what the hell they're going for with this character, but she's just a fucking goofball. I don't know why they decided to do this. Adita Humnadakar says, do you think another Matrix needs to be made? Nope.
No.
No, just I think they've cancelled all their potential sequels anyway. So like
we didn't even go past 1. That was enough.
That was enough. I was happy with that ending. It was totally satisfying. Xbox Theory gave me £1. So thanks, man. Just give me a second to refresh it. Where are you? Yeah, there we go. John Papa Sergio says, when the Sarlacc pit ruins everything but your upper teeth. Benjamin 3000 says, if you guys were abducted by aliens and was asked to provide a single movie that would best represent life on Earth, what movie would you pick and why? I think it would probably be The World's End. I think that would pretty much represent human life and human nature for me.
Yeah, so what the film's largely about, right?
More or less, yeah.
It's like a big point at the end of we should have the freedom to destroy ourselves.
Yeah, and be dicks. We should be free to be dicks. Wolfsbane said, critically underappreciated voice actor is Michael Ironside as Darkseid. He made the character in the Superman and Justice League shows. Yeah, I mean, I like Michael Ironside as an actor. Like he's been in fucking everything. Not too well known as a voice actor, as far as I know, but yeah, fair play. I do like him generally. Lawrence S. said, have you seen Kenneth Branagh's Henry V? If so, what did you think? Is it worth a drinker recommends? I haven't, I'm afraid. I don't know if MauLer has. Yeah. Snow Clams said, Book of Boba is unwatchable. Cringe writing about respectful crime lord when they should have done the Legends version with him being a mercenary. Yeah, absolutely. Echoes of the Ancients, hi drinker and MauLer, and Happy New Year. MauLer, where did you get the name Long Man?
Jack saying he kept saying my stuff was too long, and then Chase on a stream I think said, "Man, this is you're fucking Long Man, huh?" It was like Long Man Bad, I think, because it was an offshoot of Orange Man Bad as well.
Yeah,
and it just stuck, and I like it. So, like, there you go. I make long stuff.
Yeah, pretty descriptive. Adam Class says, how you boys doing? I got lit the other night and watched Silverado. Ever seen it? Liked it as a kid and it still holds up for me. It's no Tombstone, but it's still great fun. Any favorite Westerns? Silverado, I feel like I've seen it, but it has been a while. I think I quite liked it though, as I recall. Favorite Westerns? I love Pale Rider. I love Unforgiven. I like The Shootist with John Wayne. That was his last Western. Yeah, I think they would probably be my top picks. High Plains Drifter, I think, was really good as well.
For me, it's not even a contest. Unforgiven it's just beastly for Western. I can't not adore that film. I want to do something for it eventually, a video of some kind.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I did a Drinker's Recommends on it. Just liked it that much. Again, just such a great, smart, revisionist sort of movie that still pays respect to the genre that it's deconstructing at the same time. Like, man, how many films could do that nowadays? Watt said, you guys should start an account at Sovereign Media. It's journalist Ben Swan's new free speech media platform. It's new and it's worth looking into. Man, there's so much alt tech that gets recommended to me now. It's like I never know where to go with it. Kelly Johnson said, MauLer, in the books, will John become Azor as I think we did that one already.
Yeah.
Titanic Tuna, Bible Black is a hentai. On the topic of anime, 1989's Legend of the Galactic Heroes is top tier space opera. Blows Expanse easy. Wow. High praise indeed, man. British Knight said, cook steak, drink beer, listen to Drinker, bliss. That sounds like a good evening indeed. I want steak now. Fuck. Stephen Lanuto says, hail Drinker, when will your Arcane review be out? What? I seem to be in the minority of people who weren't won over by it. It's out already. I don't get it. Yeah, just look at my channel. You can find it there. Yeah, it's a Drinker Recommends for me. Shark Dentures says, just trying to force a super chat catch-up. Catch-up! Yeah, you're never going to do that. We'll never have a catch-up of a catch-up. Mr. Taco Boutique. Yeah, I don't care if I have to go until 3 in the morning. I'm getting this done. MauLer, what's your progress on Arcane?
0, but
yeah, here we go. Steady.
Get there, yeah.
Yeah. QStorm says, hey, Critical Drinker, absolutely love your content. Have you seen Don't Look Up? Any plans for covering that? Keep up the amazing work, mate. Cheers. Thanks for that, man. I haven't seen Don't Look Up yet. I've heard that it's shit. Yeah, clumsy allegory for global warming. I might be tempted to look at it just to tear it apart. Yeah, watch this space. I'll see what I can do, because January is a bit of a slow month for movies, so probably it's a good chance to catch up on stuff like that. Archangel says you should watch Fortress 1985, Australian movie about a teacher and students who are kidnapped for ransom, escape, and then have to evade and fight back against their captors. I remember it being pretty good. All right, sounds okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Nicholson, time to pester drinker until he watches Boondock Saints. Definitely could not be made in this era. Too many profanities and racist jokes. Well, it's on my list, so don't worry, it'll be done. Big Daddy MRI, I will pay you money to learn how to turn on slow mode. I'm taking cash here, real money, pounds, dollars. Ask MauLer how to do it. It helps the mods and makes it easier for you to read. Dollars for you. MauLer, should I turn on slow mode?
Well, right now, I assume not. It looks like it's fine.
Yeah. I think they mean probably for like the open bar streams when there's like 6,000 people watching.
I mean, maybe if FNT do it that way and it works, like maybe it's a good idea. I don't know.
I mean, does it just prevent certain people from posting comments up because it's like got flood control on basically?
I think it means you can only post once per like 10 seconds.
Right. Okay.
So it just calms everyone down.
Right. Well, it definitely is. It's going to stop spamming, I guess. Yeah. Okay. You know what? Like next time I'm on an open bar stream, I'll turn it on just for you, Big Daddy MRI. Paul Morton gave me £5. Thanks, mate. Xbox Theory. Am I the only person who liked the Speed Racer film? I think you might be.
I don't know. I've heard people praise it, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I was pretty bored when I watched it. Bomber 44, any thoughts on the upcoming Uncharted movie? Cheers and good day from Australia. Cheers, mate. Yeah, like we were discussing earlier, I think the casting's pretty shit on this one. So I don't know. Probably the best I can hope for is like the Tomb Raider reboot with Alicia Vikander. It's got that kind of vibe to it, which is ironic because the later Tomb Raider games pretty much ripped off Uncharted anyway. So it's the cosmic circle.
Yeah.
Four Donut Productions says, why do you both think... Sorry. Yes. Which do you both think was the best and worst films of 2021?
Well, Matrix Resurrections. Definitely one of the worst.
Yeah.
One of the best...
It's going to be No Way Home, isn't it?
I mean, I certainly liked it. Probably one of the most. But I'm trying to think of like what else was there. The Suicide Squad, Nobody, Dune.
Was Nobody out in 2021?
Apparently, yeah.
That would be up there for me. I think that would be duking it out with No Way Home for my favorite.
Yeah, I think I'm the same on that. Yeah.
And yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I'm sure there's loads of art house movies and stuff that are way better than all this stuff. But like in terms of mainstream films that were out in the theaters, then yeah, it'd probably be that. Worst.
Got, don't forget Army of the Dead, fantastic. Cruella, top notch.
Yeah. Black Widow. Yeah.
Oh, just great stuff.
Yeah. Man, Eternals is probably one of the worst ones I saw.
I didn't even see it yet.
Just absolute dross, like bottom tier, worst of Marvel, tendencies right there. Yeah, people are mentioning The Father. I think that was the previous year, though, wasn't it?
That I think the earliest one was 2019, but I think its official release was 2020. I don't think it was 2021. I'd have to check. I'm not sure, but The Father was fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people are agreeing with the Eternals here. Yeah, don't watch it, MauLer. Don't do it. Returnals. Yeah, there you go. Night King 01, did you know that David Lynch has a YouTube channel? As strange, wow, fucking hell. As strange as you think, but he gives the good music recommendations and he's the most positive person ever. Wow. I wouldn't have expected that from David Lynch, but fair enough. I'll need to take a look at that.
Yeah.
Marksman of 117B, forget those recommendations, watch Grabbers. There we go. Mr. Taco Boutique says Paddington 1 and 2 for EFAP movies. Stephen Lanuto, hail MauLer, now that Boba's got a stick and Geode is a stone, have the writers finally come full circle?
In what way? Sorry.
Sticks and stones may break my bones. I don't know.
All right.
It's just like Boba's got a stick and Geode is a stone. Have the
I
writers
guess
finally
so.
come full circle? Well, yeah. Gallifreyan Avengers said, have you seen or heard of the show Love Hate, Irish crime drama starring Robert Sheehan and Squidward from Infinity War? I haven't seen that. I've never heard of Love Hate, I'm afraid.
Yeah, no, they're fine.
Eldritch Blasted said, hey MauLer, when's Rakita going on EFAP?
That's. I mean, we want to try and. I've spoken to him. It's just a matter of finding the right video for him, I guess.
Yeah. I had him on once. We did Train to Busan. He was a good guy.
Yeah.
His profile's absolutely exploded since the trial that was on a few months back. Damn, he was doing that and getting like 100,000 live viewers. It was insane. Radim Nachat says, I recently watched Bly, so want to thank EFAP. 'Twas okay.
I loved it. I think you did not, but that's fine.
I was more lukewarm. It's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I was just lukewarm on it. Yeah, kind of not too far off. Some Norwegian guy says Dylan McDermott would have been perfect for Nathan Drake, Uncharted, if he was younger. There we go. Jimmy Kern says, what actors and characters would you say are the weakest in Cobra Kai as well as strongest? Okay, so Sam's pretty weak. Anthony, like Daniel's other son, yeah, they tried to bring him in. I wasn't really feeling it. I'm glad they brought Stingray back. Fucking hell, that was obscure. Nothing gets overlooked in this show. Like characters that just you think have been forgotten about, they always come back. Who else kind of pissed me off? Yeah, there's a few minor characters that I can't even remember their names. Like little weedy kid with glasses that just crops up from time to time. He feels a bit pointless. I think the best ones, Robbie seems to be like the best fighter. Hawk's awesome, always. Johnny is just the MVP of the fucking show. Absolutely love that character, and William Zabka just does a great time with him. And yeah, Kreese is just cool as fuck. Just cool and menacing. Martin Cove doesn't seem to have aged in like 30 years, which is weird. And Terry Silver is like properly unhinged. So yeah, all of those guys, I think there's definitely more good characters than bad ones in Cobra Kai. So yeah, those would be my choices. Charles Roybal, give me $1. Thanks, mate. Kim Joyong says, cast Dragon Ball Z, Goku, Vegeta, Idris is Piccolo. Scotsman escaped to England. I don't know what any of that means because I don't understand Dragon Ball Z, so sorry. Ben8X says, which Pirates of the Caribbean movies are your favorite and least favorite? I think they go in descending order for me.
I was gonna say, I think that's the normal perspective. It's just that they keep getting worse.
Yeah, it's law of diminishing returns with pirates, I think. Voiceover Shill says, hey Drinker, longtime fan here. I'm an aspiring writer and actor, and I was wondering if you have any advice for writing a spy thriller. Yeah, but it would take me way too long to get through all of it on this stream. I guess plot it out really well in advance. That would be my biggest piece of advice to you. Write out the entire synopsis, even if it takes 20 pages. Get down all your major plot points, all your twists and turns, all your character motivations. Make sure it makes sense. Make sure you covered all your bases. And there's no obvious plot holes in it, because there's nothing worse than discovering a big plot hole halfway through writing and having to go back and change it. So that would be my biggest piece of advice to you. And always try and add an extra layer on there. If you want lots of twists and turns, add your twists in like you would expect, and then put an extra one on top. You know, just to keep people guessing. Naked Fame says, you should read this super chat. Well, I did read this super chat, so thank you. Yeah, mission accomplished. Yes, I've done something tonight. Fabacy says, do you like negative reviews more than positive? Seems like you're having a ton of fun with them. Also, what is that clip of people covered in shit from? That's from Not Another Teen Movie. So just look up that. That's it. The entire clip is actually really good. It's like these guys trying to like crawl into an air vent to scope a look at the girls' bathrooms, and instead they find this girl taking a massive dump below them, and like they fall through the air vent somehow, and then they fall. All three of them fall into like the classroom below, and the teacher just gets sprayed with shit, and it's just ridiculous, but so over the top. I just had to use it. But yeah, like with reviews, it's easier to be negative about a film. Like it's easier to be funny and tear it apart because you're taking the piss out of it. If you're praising something for being great, well, you can't be as funny because you're not making fun of it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's easier to do it that way.
And yeah, it's just you being kind of serious when you're saying something is good, and people sometimes will be waiting for the punchline, like, oh, there isn't one. There isn't going to be a punchline. You know, okay, all right, yeah, this is good. Okay,
Yeah,
feels unusual sometimes. The vibe.
I mean, as a matter of personal preference, hey, I'd love to go into every movie and have a blast with it and be able to sing its praises, but it doesn't happen. John Papa Sergio said, does nobody realize Boba Fett just assumed that Jabba is dead? How does he know? He crawled out of the pit, passed out, was robbed and taken hostage, only returned after many years and shot Bib Fortuna. That's true. Yeah, how does he know?
Presumably he found out at some point along the way. I don't know, even Fennec would probably know, right?
I mean, I guess if he makes his way back to town and stuff, yeah, like someone will have told him. Danny Hickling said, Unforgiven is a great movie. I showed it to my teenage boys after The Drinker Recommends, and they loved it. Excellent. Good stuff.
Oh,
yeah. Beacon gave me $5, so thank you, man. I think I'm almost at the end, actually. Yeah, there's a couple more. Night King 01, how long until we get Drinker to play the Arkham games, or at least Asylum, City, and Origins? Arkham Knight made me angry now. I'm getting bad memories. I'm totally in favor of playing them. So, yeah, if you guys want to see me stream it, I will do it. Voiceover Shill gave me £1 so thank you. Yeah. The smoking remains of Jabba's sail barge were right there when he got out. That is true. I mean, they are there, but like for all he knew, like there was an escape pod or something for Jabba, or he got evacuated before this exploded. It could be anything, really. Yeah, it takes 1,000 years to digest in the Sarlacc pit, so maybe he found a way out. That is it, but like, I assume it keeps you immobile somehow when you're getting digested. You can't just like move around and like shoot things and stuff.
Well, I guess that stormtrooper, he just died. he was in there and then he just went back.
Yeah. It's like, did he have a blaster? Like he had his own air supply and everything. How did he die?
No idea.
Will you see me play Red Dead Redemption 2? I mean, I've completed it already, but if people want to see me play it, I can do that. But yeah. Anyway, we got through all the super chats, so that is lovely. We made it. We made it, MauLer.
We made it.
Yeah. I think we can all pat ourselves on the back there. I'm up to date with all my super chats.
Right off into the YouTube sunset.
Yeah. Have you seen Dead Snow, the Norwegian zombie comedy? I've seen clips from it. It's like Nazi zombies. It's like, what is not to like?
Yeah,
but yeah, so we've got to the end. So I just want to say thanks to MauLer for coming in for this. Thanks for the mods for doing their great work, and thanks for all the amazing super chats and all these guys in chat keeping everything going. Very much appreciated. And I guess we'll catch you next time for the next open bar. I'll probably doing what's it called? A happy hour. Yeah, that's it. Fucking come on. Too much whiskey. Yeah, I'll probably be doing a happy hour on Thursday. I'll confirm my guests shortly because I'm talking to a few people. But yeah, that's all I've got for today. So go away now.